Craft Loverist just commented on my typing speed. Yeah, I type really fast. I mean, not super fast. Like, I can hit, like, maybe 100 words per minute if I'm really, really trying, but I'd say I probably type at, like, 80 to 90 typically. Alrighty. Charlie Chen says, when did you start learning magic? I started when I was 10. I'm currently 24. So I did take a few years off in the middle. When I was in high school, I didn't do magic for a few years, but I'd say collectively probably, you know, I don't know, something like 10 to 12 years of actual time doing magic very seriously. I kind of quit when I was 14 and got back into it when I was 17 or so. So I guess I would say I've been, 14 minus 3, say 11 years or so. But I think the time off was important for me to not do magic and, have a life. And part of the reason I stopped doing it for a few years was that, when you're in high school or grade school, people see you as rather one-dimensional. And so what happens is that if you're like the kid who does magic, you just become the kid who does magic and nothing else. And I really didn't like that, and it was getting in the way of, forming healthy high school social relationships when you're just seen as totally one-dimensional. I also ended up getting some, like, tendinitis in my hand from practicing too much. And so, so basically that was kind of the way it went. So I quit for a few years and then got back into it when I was 17. All right, so let's see. Yes, I'm at like 29.6K subscribers, and I hope I hit 30K soon. What's my magic routine? Hacker85422. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Like what routines I perform or something? I don't quite know, but if you can specify, I can answer that. Okay, what do you think of Harry Lorraine, the magician? Harry Lorraine, love his work. He's awesome, and I think that like he was kind of obviously he was kind of one of the earlier, very seminal thinkers. I mean, he also runs a memory school, or ran a memory school, I think. So he has a lot of great work in the memory kind of region. I think probably the most important thing to mention about Harry Lorraine is he's very much like a collector and curator of magic. So a lot of his books have, routines in them that are from a wide variety of different magicians and different creators. And so I think that as a result, it's a great way of like sampling some of the best of lots of different magicians and lots of different performers. And so it's a great way to find like, oh, I like this person, oh, I don't like this person, and so on and so forth. So I think that's one of the great things about him. And also he's got this great book called How to Build a Superpower Memory. He has a lot of other books on memory, but my understanding is that they more or less contain the same information. But it has a lot of information about the PEG memory system and a couple other things. A great read all around if you want to learn more about memory work. Okay, first Darwin Ortiz book was, has to be Strong Magic. That was the first book I read of his. Loved it. Darwin Ortiz has become a mentor and a good friend, so I'm very lucky in that sense to have gotten to know the guy. He's incredible. And then let's see. And I think my first card book of his, I actually do not remember which book I got first, but he's got 4 books on card magic. Darwin Ortiz at the Card Table, Card Shark, and what else? Scams and Fantasies with Cards, and Lessons in Card Mastery, published in 1998, 1995, 2002, and 2012, respectively. All great, love them. I'd say my 2 favorites are Card Shark, that's probably my favorite, and then my second favorite is Lessons in Card Mastery, his latest book. Great material in those. Okay, was it hard for you to keep your motivation high to learn magic? Asked by Flamingo Manmate. At certain times, yes, when I would feel kind of not confident and whatnot. But generally, I love the flow of practicing. Sometimes I'm not always, into it, but like once I get into the flow of practicing, I can just sit there and shuffle cards for hours. And so I've never had to feel like I have to make myself practice in any way. That I just never had to. I've always just loved fiddling with cards. I mean, you can see me doing it right now. I just am constantly, somewhat mindlessly fiddling with cards, and I'm just, practicing stuff, just letting my hands do whatever they want to do. All right, let's see. someone asks, Fradam asks, have you seen Derek Delgadio's In and of Itself? Yes. I saw it twice live. I've watched the recorded version of it on Hulu a couple times. Excuse me. It is awesome. It is awesome. Love it. I really enjoyed seeing the show live. I was actually lucky enough to get to talk to Derek afterward for like 3 or 4 hours. I demoed a couple card moves for him, and then we just talked for hours and hours and hours. He's super, super nice. I'm really grateful for how generous he was with his time, because he had another show later that evening, and we just chatted for 3 or 4 hours. So that was really generous of him. I really didn't expect expect that in any way. So I was really, really pleased to get to know him a little bit and get to talk about all things Magic. And even though we both do kind of gambling sleight of hand stuff, and we're inspired by common sources. I mean, he's like a decade ahead of me in his development as a performer. So hopefully I can get even a tenth of the way there in a decade. And we also have very different styles overall, so it was just really interesting to me to be kind of exposed to a very different, more theatrically natured style of performing, and it definitely changed a lot of the ways that I think about Magic. I don't know how much it'll, I very much don't want to end up just emulating his style, because you kind of need to branch off and do your own thing. But we do fundamentally have very different styles and personalities, so we head in fairly different directions. But it was really nice. It was cool seeing his gambling routine in there, because we were inspired by the same set of sources, and I hadn't seen his version yet, even though that was after I'd been doing my own version for a few years. But they're based on the same set of sources, so it was really cool to see someone else's interpretation of the same work. Okay, Jay Pasco, how many decks do you have in your collection? I don't know if I really have a card collection, because I don't necessarily collect fancy cards or anything. It's fine if you do. I think that's cool. But I go through cards very fast. I burn through cards really, really fast, so they're just bicycle decks, and I use them. I save some of them. I toss some out, but I go through cards pretty quickly. They just wear out. Let's see. Clapped asked, what piece of information helped best with Magic? Listen to your lay audiences, not magicians. Ironic, because I'm a magician. I'm telling you this. Listen to your lay audiences, or at least put their feedback above the feedback of a magician, because they're the ones who are ultimately experiencing your magic, and magicians just have a very different way of thinking about things than a lay audience does. And the useful perspective, the fundamentally useful perspective, is that of a lay audience. If you find a few magicians whose perspectives you really trust, you like their work, you think they have a good analytical framework, there's a big difference between being a good performer and being good at analyzing performance, then that's great, and that can be very helpful. But primarily, listen to the feedback you get from your lay audiences. That will guide you. Watch recordings of your performances, and pay attention to how the audience is reacting. Not just what you look like, but I mean, when some effect happens, I mean, what does the audience do? What's their reaction like? And when you give them instructions, are they confused, or are they able to carry them out? Because if they're confused, it's not their fault, it's yours. So I think that's very, very, very helpful. Okay, let's see. Charlie asked, do I practice Magic? Yes. Memorizer asked, if you don't mind, I would love to hear your thoughts on practicing the overhand jog shuffle. Because this is a live stream, I'm not necessarily going to, I imagine, I'll just watch everyone leave. I'm happy to talk about how I practice techniques, and I'm happy to talk about the theory behind techniques. This is not a format where I'm going to teach you how to do stuff, because there's no way I could possibly teach effectively in this format. I'm going to make some videos on my channel coming up that have some self-working effects in them and some basic card handling. And so I will absolutely have tutorial videos on my channel of basic stuff that you can learn. I'm also working on an online course right now, and I don't know, maybe in a month or two that'll be out, and that'll teach some more advanced sleight of hand. But my reason isn't because I feel necessarily super cagey one way or another, but it's just that I want to make sure that if I'm going to teach stuff, you are getting an experience that you can actually learn from. Not just like, oh, now I know how the trick is done, but like you can pick up cards and learn how to do it. And that's actually really important to me, that something like that can happen. Okay, let's see. So thoughts on practicing the jog shuffle. I can perform it. I'm not going to explain all of it, but here are the 4 aces. They start on top of the deck. And I'm going to give the cards an overhand shuffle like this, and I'll show you some different styles. That was intentionally a very messy style there. Give the cards another shuffle, and the aces are back on top. This doesn't reveal anything more than I can control the cards when I shuffle them, which you all already knew. So I'll do it one more time. And that's what the jog shuffle looks like. Can also be done with some cuts at the end. I also like doing it this way in sometimes where you end with some cuts like that. But suffice it to say, you're able to keep control over the aces. And indeed, these are all, different cards. They're not all the same. So in terms of practicing it, work on the rhythm of the shuffle. Try not to slow down too much at certain points. And also, in the second half of the shuffle, once you're doing the second shuffle, make sure you're turned at the right angle. You can't show them this side of the deck because they'll see what's going on. So you have to do a slight body turn this way. That's why I often prefer the tabled cuts at the end because it's a lot more covered. The other thing is to make sure that you stagger the cards as you're shuffling. Don't shuffle them too neatly because otherwise some of the things that you're doing will be exposed if people look from the wrong angle. So I mention this because if you watch the shuffle from this side, there's nothing to see. Which, if you do it classically, there would be something to see here. But as long as it's a messier shuffle, and then you tap here to square things up, it can look pretty good. So anyway, hopefully for people who know how to do the jog shuffle, that will give you some help. But this asks, do you know how to do a blackjack second deal? You're talking about a hit-style second deal. All right, hope the stream is still working. Guess we're going to find out. Should have a monitor. Oh, yeah, good, we're back. Okay, just froze for me for a second. Weird. All right, here's a hit-style second deal. Ace of spades, and I'm going to deal some cards like this. Just make sure I can actually, it's in frame. Okay, yeah. So these are all seconds. So I'll do a few more of these. Those are all second deals. So yeah, it's a hit-style second. Hopefully will look okay. And a big part of it is getting the not having any flicker in the card. Anyone who does a second deal will understand what I mean by that. But instead of dealing the top card, I'm dealing a second one. So second card is the queen of clubs. Top card is the ace of spades, and that's the queen. Here's the ace. So yeah, that's a blackjack style second deal. There are some other ones as well that are used in blackjack. But of course, in reality, you'd be pitching the cards like this. So if I do it face up for a moment, you can see that I'm pitching the cards. And that would happen as you're pitching to the players. Because, of course, in blackjack, it doesn't matter if you pitch the cards high because you're allowed to see the other player's cards. If you're dealing poker, you have to deal very low to the table if you're going to deal poker. But for blackjack, because you don't want people to see the cards. But for blackjack, it doesn't matter. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Wes, okay, Wes, you're wondering about starting virtual shows. It's a complex topic. I don't know if I can really give you a great answer there, honestly. I mean, you just got to start doing it. I realize that's probably not helpful. I mean, you need to have, you don't need super fancy equipment. You need to have a camera where they can see you and they can, hear you. Your phone will work great as a microphone. If you really want to have a nicer setup, you need decent lighting, and you might want to use a cheap mirrorless camera like a Sony a6000 with a capture card. But once you invest in a mirrorless camera, you're already talking about spending many hundreds of dollars, on equipment to get the capture card and to get the camera and to get the lighting and everything. So what matters much more than that is that your audience can at least see the show and that they can appreciate, what's going on. Try to think about material that where the audience participates, because otherwise they could just be watching a video on YouTube, right? So it has to be fundamentally a different experience for them. So try to work on stuff where, having them pick a card is nice, call out stop as I go through the deck. This one, great. But try to think about ways where they can be even more participatory than that. And again, I don't want to say too much because if I just tell you a trick or two tricks that I do, that won't spark your creativity in the same way. So think about audience engagement and just make sure that your equipment, or you can also use your MacBook webcam or computer webcam, and make sure your equipment is good enough just so that they can see what's happening and appreciate the show. I think that's what would be most important. Okay, let's see. First card trick I remember learning, asks Sam Newsman, I would say, what would I say? First card trick ever, probably something with like I think it was this thing where you have a selected card and then you're able to catch a card in between them. That was probably the first trick. I actually teach that on my channel. It's the easy magic trick video. Okay, already answered that one. Am I a poker player? No. I'm much more interested in cheating at cards than I am at playing cards. I don't play in games. I like the philosophy of cheating at cards rather than actually doing it. I know people who do, but not something I actually do myself. I like the philosophy of cheating at cards, and I'm fascinated by the techniques and how you get better at it, and what con games say about how we think and how we behave. I think all that's fascinating, but I do this for fun, not to actually cheat people out of their money. All right, already answered that. Let's see. Already talked about that. Okay, good. Let's see. Okay, chat just jumped. All right. Oh, okay. That was weird. For whatever reason, chat didn't load for a long time, and then it did. Cool. Sam, well, hold on. Let's see. Nope, already answered that. And, favorite way to end a routine, asks Caleb. Well, I mean, that really is just a matter of what the trick is. I don't really think there's necessarily a best way to end a routine because it really depends on what the trick is. So you have to think about what makes sense in the context of the routine you're doing. If you're talking about an act, like you're doing an act or a performance for people, I mean, you obviously need to have a really strong ending. Maybe the cards change color. Maybe they're all back in order. Something else. But you have to build up to the end. Okay. Already talked about that one. Coolest, rarest deck in your collection. I don't really think I have one because I just burn through bicycle cards so fast. Sometimes I use tally hos. This is my favorite back design, the blue fan backs, personally. But all right, let's see. Favorite cards, bicycle, because of their cheapness. I mean, cheap as in they don't cost a lot of money. They're good cards. They're great, and they're totally usable for everything I do. And if you're buying Costco cards, Bicycle, Amazon, or whatever, if you're having trouble doing sleight of hand with those, it's not the cards. It means that there are mechanical issues with how you're doing the sleight of hand. Sure, if it's a really beat up deck, there are certain moves that are facilitated by a new deck, but the cards you get from Costco are totally adequate to do pretty much all sleight of hand. All right, let's see. How did you practice while there's school? It would kind of fluctuate. If I was really busy with exams, I wouldn't practice much. When things were a little less busy with school, I'd practice more. So it would just kind of be depending on my availability. Has Magic ever gotten you a date? No. Well, so I've had people strike up a conversation while I'm doing Magic that sometimes led to sort of a date, or sometimes just a friendship. But I guess no, that was a date. I did one time on a date. So I was offering to treat, it was an early date, so I was offering to pay for it. And she was like, oh, no, it's fine, we can split it. And I'm like, no, really, I'll pay for it. She's like, no, it's fine, we can split it. So I said, okay, fine. So I take her credit card, and I take my credit card, and we've got, like, the little billfold. So this is mine, this is hers. And I put them into the billfold and hand them off to the waiter. Except, of course, I palmed her credit card in my hand so that only mine went into the billfold. And I waited a few minutes, kept it palmed. And then at some point, she I said, oh, what's under your elbow? And I made her card appear, and she was very surprised. And then, of course, that meant that I treated the date. So that was pretty funny. But that was just to be nice. No. Magic is not something, I actually feel pretty strongly about this. Magic is not something you should be using to, like, make friends or get dates. That should come from who you are as a person. I think that if you're using Magic in that way, it ultimately means it's being used to be like, I'm so cool, look at me. And that's not the point. It's about sharing wonder with people and giving them an experience that they wouldn't otherwise have. So if, as a result of that, totally organically, you end up getting to know someone after the show and you end up dating, that's fine. But it shouldn't be your intended purpose to be like, I'm going to get a date with Magic, because it's a little weird. That's really what that's what I'd say. Okay, first Magic book you'd recommend, Card College Volume 1. Love it. It's encyclopedic in nature, so just keep that in mind. Great stuff in there. Absolutely wonderful. Okay, talked about that. All right, yep, Magic Boy. How much did the production team shape your fullest performance? From Scott. Hi, Scott. Not much. Obviously I submitted a number of things to them, and then they told me the one that they liked the best. And in terms of how much they shaped it, they were very helpful in helping me get the routine to work on TV, because Magic, for people in person is very different from magic on stage being filmed for TV. There are a lot of different considerations, and they were helpful in giving me some guidance on what, a few changes to make to the routine that would clean things up, tighten up the routine a bit, make it function better on TV when it's not in the context of the rest of your act, because you don't have that context. But no, it's pretty much the routine itself. They didn't have they weren't trying to make any changes. They were great. I loved being on the show, and the producers were awesome. They were really helpful to work with. Okay, let's see. Pame42. Special cards are great if you need them, but you need to be able to get them in and out without anyone noticing. That's really important. Okay. I already talked about the student life, balance with school. Just when I was really busy with school, I wasn't doing much magic. When I wasn't so busy with school, did a lot of magic. So it was kind of a back and forth. Let's see. Who's been your reference in magic? Probably my three greatest inspirations are in terms of initially learning it, Roberto Giobbi. Currently, I'd say Ricky Jay, Darwin Ortiz, and Darren Brown. Those are probably my three greatest inspirations, which is rather obvious for my performance style. Okay, what is a trick you can do on the spot with no setup that can blow people's minds? Good question. I don't really think about go-to tricks anymore, because it's so context dependent. It really is context dependent. You need to, keep in mind what the situation is. Here's a good example. If you're going to do a trick where you cut to the four aces, right, that's great on stage, and it's great if you're talking to a card player. But if you're at a dinner with some people and you're like, hey, why don't we cut to the four aces? That's it's too show-offy for that environment. There's nothing wrong with magic where you're showing off skills as long as it's done in the right way. There's nothing necessarily problematic with that, but you have to do it in the right way where it's not self-aggrandizing. And you also have to do it in the right context. That really matters. So I guess what I would say is that you want to, if you're in a kind of, I don't know what you'd call it, casual, intimate environment in some way, you want to find magic that really feels collaborative, where the audience really feels like they're part of it, or they're helping out in some way, or magic's happening in their hands. You want it to have that kind of communal, collaborative feeling in that scenario. So that's really more guidance as to what trick you can do. I'm always a big fan of Triumph, generally. Triumph, you can basically never go wrong with that effect. Do it in their hands, where they snap their fingers or wave their hands. Talk about what the trick could mean, philosophically speaking. Triumph's always great. And there's so many versions of it, in the hands, on the table, whatever you want. Okay, Ragni Boy, go-to control really depends on context. If I'm allowed to shuffle the cards or mix them, obviously the double undercut is great, especially followed by some, maybe slug controls of whatever kind. That's always great. Probably the cull is also maybe a go-to of mine. Actually, probably the cull more than anything. I'd say that really is my favorite. Okay, let's see. Ali asks, where did you learn your bottom deal, or which one do you do? Greetings from Iraq. Wow, cool to have I was surprised looking at my analytics on YouTube. Only 35% of my viewers are from the U.S., which is just really cool to me. I didn't know that I would be able to have an international sort of reach in a way. So I would really, I'm just super cool to have people from all over the world. So greetings to you. All right, Jay, easy trick on stream. Maybe I'll have to think about if there's something I can actually teach that you'd be able to get something out of. Potentially, I just want to make sure that if I'm gonna teach a really easy self-working trick, that you're gonna get something from it, and that you're going to be able to actually learn it, because I think that's really important in teaching, is that it's not just here's how it works, but here's a thing you can do if you practice a little bit. So I'll think about it. Okay, let's see. Favorite cards, Bicycle. Overused and underused Sleight from Killian Petrick. That's a really interesting question. Underused Sleight, Pinky Count. Most useful move in all of Magic. Second only to one other, but I don't want to go to too much detail there. Overused Sleight. I don't know, man. I don't know if there's really an overused move. There are moves. Well, I can think of some, but I don't want to go into too much detail on methods here and exposing stuff, just because I know that there are a lot of people in my audience who just want to appreciate magic and want to enjoy it for its own sake, and I don't want to, give them too much detail so that they would start to know how stuff is done. But I may make a video about that on some time. Well, I'll say, I think that I'll use an abbreviation. I think the DL is, if you don't want to know what that is, don't. Just forget it. If you know what that is, great. I think that can sometimes be overused, just in the sense that that is a concept that an audience member who doesn't know anything about magic can intuit. They can intuit that. And I think that could be, I think you need some design to cover it up. I think if it's just used on its own too much, that can be problematic. All right. Let's see. Let me see. Favorite cards, I already, bicycle. Okay, already answered that one. Let's see. Do you only do card manipulation, or do you other tricks? And have you ever thought about buying a trick and regretted buying it? Oh yeah, I've bought tricks that I regret buying before. Absolutely. I mean, just in that I never ended up doing them. Let's see. Do I do card manipulation? I mean, I don't do much in the way of flourishes. I do some basic card springs, one or two very basic flourishy cuts, not much in the way of flourishes. I prefer the kind of invisible sleight of hand techniques used at the card table. I love the flashy flourishes, don't get me wrong. I think they're super cool. That's just not really my thing. All right, already talked about that. How many hours a day do I practice? How do I practice? What kind of exercises? Let's see. Well, I mean, I don't necessarily think about hours a day anymore, because so much of what I do is maintenance and thinking about creative projects and working on performance. When I was younger, sometimes like 10, 12 hours a day. I mean, I've practiced so much that I would forget to eat sometimes. That was when I was, in the 10 to 14 range, and also kind of the 18 to 20 range. I mean, sometimes literally that much. You don't have to practice that much to be a great magician. You absolutely don't. You don't have to be an obsessive maniac to be good at magic. That was just how I did it, but it's not the only way. So if you don't feel like practicing that much, don't worry about it. Okay, how do I practice? I've never had super good practice routines or regimens. A mirror is helpful, video is helpful, because you need to be able to critique it. Ultimately, practicing a sleight, practice slowly, really, 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 really slowly, because with very few exceptions, every sleight in magic can be done in slow motion, with very few exceptions, and it will still look good. It will look deceptive. Really watch the cards, with your eyes. I know that sounds kind of weird, but, literally just watch the cards with your eyes, because, and not just from your perspective, but also in the mirror or on the video camera, because, the thing is, it's so frequent that, I see a magician do a move, and, you can just see what's happening through their fingers. If you just look at their hands, you can just see the move. And I'm not even talking about, oh, well, I knew the move was happening, but I couldn't see it. I'm talking about, you can just see the move happening through their fingers. So you gotta really look at your hands closely. Don't blink at just the right moment. So that's kind of what I'd recommend in that sense. And I don't really know much about exercises necessarily, but, practice moves in the context that you're going to use them. Practice moves in the way you will actually use them. Okay, pancakes or waffles? Waffles. Let's see, normal bicycle deck. Yes, you can just use normal bicycle deck for almost everything, Marcus. And do you have any deck recommendations for beginners? Bicycle cards. Just get a 12-pack from, Costco, Sam's Club, or whatever you call it, Amazon. Just use those. At the very beginning, the brand new cards may feel hard, difficult to use, too slippery, too stiff. You'll break them in with time, and as you get better at magic, you will further appreciate a brand new deck of cards more and more. Let's see. Hard work. Thanks so much. Very kind of you. Can you do the cool thing where you make a wheel out of cards? Are you talking about a fan? I don't quite know what you mean by a wheel. There's also another type of fan that's called a giant fan. This will be hilarious if I screw this up and drop the cards over, but there's something called a giant fan like this. I don't know what you're talking about, but yeah. Okay, yeah, Fred, great show, loved it, and I'm glad I got to talk to Derek. Okay, already thought about that. Do you watch any other games such as chess, and if so, have you watched the Queen's Gambit Flamingo? Yes, I did watch the Queen's Gambit, and I've watched some chess streams. I don't play chess. I don't have any, particular big interest in chess. But there's some streamers who are very entertaining, and mainly I've watched it because it was helpful to me to watch the teaching sessions that like Daniel Naroditsky and Hikaru and other people did, because seeing their teaching style and the way they would coach students has been very helpful to me, because I teach a lot of private lessons. And if you want to take private lessons, shameless plug, contact me on my website, danielroymagic.com/booking. danielroymagic.com/booking. Shameless plug. Okay, well, I hate advertising myself. Ugh. All right, but I have to do it. Otherwise, nothing ever happens in my life. Always just feels so icky to promote myself. Anyway, it's a personal issue. Okay. So it's been very helpful to me to see their teaching style and be able to sort of incorporate that into teaching magic. All right. Would you say card cheating is your main area of magic? Sort of. I'd say understanding like the nature of deception, whether that's from a neuroscience perspective or from a sleight of hand, at the card table perspective. That's how I'd say it. Kind of the art and science of all things deception based is really where I'd say. Matthew Brown, thanks for the question. Okay, how many hours a day do you put aside for practicing? Chester, I don't really do any hour requirement anymore. I just handle cards enough as I'm doing other things that I can maintain my skills. But initially, you do need to really put some practice in. The thing that matters most with practice time isn't the time, it's the consistency. If you just practice 30 minutes a day for, 2 or 3 years on end, you'll be a great magician. I mean, you do not have to practice hours and hours and hours to make good progress, but you do have to practice consistently. That's what's really important. Padraig asks, did you ever get frustrated with magic? Sometimes I practice techniques and don't seem to be picking it up, and I feel like maybe sleight of hand isn't for me. Thanks for all the videos. Yes, absolutely. I absolutely, would get, I would definitely, get frustrated with moves when I wasn't making progress, and then you kind of just stop practicing them for a week or so, or a month, and then come back to them, and sometimes you will have made great progress. Okay, let's see, started with a few card tricks. The cards I'm using are very old, asks Daniel Weber. Yeah, if they're too old and too beat up, that's not great. Get some bicycle cards, bicycle playing cards, just use those, they're great, that's all you'll ever need. Okay, Ahmed asks, how did you create your own magic show? Well, I think creativity is often misunderstood. There's a great book by Austin Kleon called Steal Like an Artist. Highly recommended. He's not a magician, it's not a book about magic, but it's a book about creativity in general. So I think that the way to think about creativity is it is very rare that anyone ever has a brand new idea. And most of the time when people think they have brand new ideas, someone beat them to it by like a century and they just don't know. It's not necessarily their own fault. It's hard. No one can know the whole history of any discipline, but it's very rare that anything is ever new. Creativity is about iteration, and it's about putting existing ideas together in new ways. So you pull a piece from this and this and this and this, and you string them together in a new way. So don't worry about just like sitting there and like inventing something new. That's not how creativity works. You get creative by watching other, magicians perform and reading books and watching videos. And then instead of just duplicating what they do, you're like, okay, what's my favorite element from this? What's my favorite element from this? Or what are some elements that maybe I could combine together? And start with minor iterations where you're just adding a little bit to something that exists, and then you sort of ramp up from there. When I was, I'd say, I don't know, maybe 17, I set a requirement for myself, which hurt my performances for a while. I said, I'm not going to perform anything that isn't sufficiently original to me. Now, I don't always stick to this anymore because there's some great routines by others that I love doing, but I set that as a requirement for myself for a few years, where I wouldn't perform something unless I felt like I'd made some significant, changes or alterations. That probably hurt my performances for a little while because, of course, there were great tricks that I just wasn't allowing myself to do. But it did spark my creativity and kind of gave me a kick in the butt to be a little more creative. Okay. Let me think. Yeah, card deck again, bicycle. And let's see, can you perform a one-handed cut or counter cuts? I don't know what you mean by counter cuts. I mean, yeah, I can do a cut with one hand. I'm reading a question about dealing with a heckler without looking like an idiot. I saw another question earlier on about not just making out any uncooperative spectator to be a heckler. A heckler is someone who is trying to ruin your performance. They're trying to take the spotlight for themselves, and they're intentionally trying to ruin your performance. That is very different from someone who gets a little nervous on stage and doesn't carry out some instructions correctly, or someone who's skeptical and points out that they saw a move. Those are not hecklers. Those are just people who are doing their best to help out on stage and people who are using their brains. We cannot penalize our audiences for just thinking critically. You know, if you do a trick or a move poorly and they point it out, that's not their problem, that's yours. And similarly, if they don't carry out some instructions correctly, that's not their problem. It means you need to give the instructions more clearly and maybe repeat it again before you ask them to do it. People are not used to handling cards, and they're nervous on stage. It takes a lot to get up under hot stage lights in front of a room of people and make good decisions, and handle cards well. All right. Let's see. So thanks for the question, Max. But in terms of how to deal with it, main thing I would say is, what you want to do is just make sure that that you are not setting up a ha-ha, I win, you lose dynamic. Now, it's fine to have some conflict in the context of the performance. I mean, there's conflict in books and movies, and that's what makes lots of things compelling. Conflict is okay, as long as they understand that it's not like meta conflict, that it isn't actually in real life about, haha, I'm better than you. It's within the context of the performance that maybe there's some playful back and forth or, winning at a game of cards. But they understand that you're not trying to make them look dumb, that in reality this is a collaborative and fun experience that they are simply being a part of. First, Belarius asks about the first trick that amazed me. Probably an ambitious card was the first trick I really ever saw this close to my face that just blew my mind. All right, let's see. This may be Henry asks about UPenn. Great school. I really enjoyed my time there. It's not for everyone, just in the sense that it depends how much emphasis you want to put on academics and how devoted you are to spending so much of your time studying. Right? It's not like I really don't think that just some school because it's super duper prestigious in some way is necessarily the best for everyone. That's just not the case. People want different things out of life, and that's okay. You don't have to want only academic achievement in some way that people will find impressive. That's not what life is about. So you ultimately want to go to a college. If you're going to go to college, I think personally, just my own hot take, I think you want to go to a college that suits your goals and your personality and what you want to do. Because people who want something super duper academic and are a place that isn't, they're not very happy. And people who want a little more life freedom and end up at a place that's super duper rigorously academic, they're not very happy either. I also don't think there's necessarily a huge difference in the curriculum or how hard the exams are or whatever between a super prestigious school and maybe one that isn't as well known. I don't necessarily know how big the difference in quality of education is. It's more about the people you're around and who they are than anything else. Okay, let's see. Thanks so much, Who. And Memorizer, no worries. Feel free to ask whatever questions you like, and I'll answer what I can. Okay, great mind-melting movie you've seen. I'm always looking for deep thinker movies or shows to watch. I'm not much of a movie buff. I don't know. I mean, some books that I really recommend some books. Thinking Fast and Slow is great. I mostly read nonfiction. Thinking Fast and Slow is great. Atomic Habits is awesome. Love those books. So yeah, I think those are great. But I'm not a huge movie guy. I enjoy movies. I just don't know if I'm the best person to ask about those. Okay, Eris Joker. Hello. Do you get to a point where you can't go to casinos? Asks Sam at Newsman. In casinos, they don't let you handle the cards, right, for the most part. And I'm not going to try anything in a casino, because if you get caught, it's really bad. There's cameras everywhere. It's not worth it. Don't try to cheat in a casino. So, yeah, I also don't really gamble because I know the odds are so bad in casino games. You're just going to lose money. And everyone who wins money in a casino, they always end up losing more money later in life. So it's just not worth it. The only way that a casino is worth your time is if you genuinely enjoy the experience of gambling and if you treat the money that you're going to spend like an admission ticket. Instead of going and seeing a show that costs $100, you say, okay, this $100 is what I'm going to spend tonight for my entertainment in this casino. Once I lose it, I'm done. I think that's a... If you like that, great. But don't. Everyone who makes lots of money off of it, they ultimately lose it. Okay. Do I ever use sleight of hand to win in card games like Uno? Of course not. Maybe. What do you think about Richard Turner? Asks Justin Mathis. He's amazing. I mean, I can't fathom how the things he's been able to do despite being able to like not see. Richard Turner, for anyone who doesn't know. Incredible card mechanic, also like a 6th degree black belt in karate or something, is also blind and has been blind since he was a little kid. Lost his vision when he was like 8 or 9 due to some condition. Really inspirational person, and great documentary about him called Dealt. Highly recommend watching that. Okay, do your friends still want to play poker with you? No, they don't. Eris Joker, do the most difficult sleight of hand. Okay? Well, kind of hard to say exactly what it is. Let's do, 4 aces on the bottom, and I will cut them into the center. So 4 aces go into the middle of the deck, and I will deal out a 5-handed game of cards. So here's a 5-handed game. So these are centers, dealing cards out of the middle to my own hand. That might be the most difficult. 1 or 2 things that I think maybe are a little harder, but not great for demonstration purposes. Just to do that face up, because why not? Aces in the middle, and I'll do the centers one more time. Here goes. So 5-handed game. I kind of have to deal in this weird pattern because I don't want to deal into the iPad. So anyway, hopefully these look all right. Yeah, there we go. So centers to my own hand. Those are legitimate centers. The cards are actually fully square with the deck. They're not, left sticking out or anything, and they really are coming out of the middle. That's probably the most difficult. Okay, let's see. Do your friends? I already talked about that. Yes, I'm very much banned from touching cards when I play cards with friends. Oh, okay. And chat just jumped. Woohoo. All right. All right, let's see. Where are we at? Yeah, for whatever reason, chat is... The YouTube chat, it doesn't load, and then all of it loads, and it, jumps me to a new place in the chat, so I apologize if I just miss a bunch of questions. All right, I don't even know where I just was. But yeehaw. Oh, yeah, I definitely haven't talked about all these. All right, there are a lot of great questions. I'm going to go to the bottom of the chat. So if there's a question you asked that I haven't answered, and again, if I've touched on it already, please don't ask it again. But just so I can keep up with what's most recently being asked and be a little more on time. If there's a question that I completely have not touched on at all, feel free to ask it again. All right. So I'll just try to keep up with chat now. Thanks. This is Madden. Thanks. Glad you liked the center deal. ROP asks, any tips on how to find your character and performance style? Yeah, I know Minecraft. I was 20 minutes behind because there are just so many messages. So yeah, I'm going to try to, let's catch up here. Okay, yeah, I can't keep up. Well, I'll give it a try. Find your character. It's about finding aspects of, I think, your own personality that you can bring to light. I think the best characters are generally ones where people are finding a modified or augmented version of who they really are and finding areas of that your audience can really connect with. And so I think that's important, and it just takes trial and error. That's the only way. Trial and error on stage, find what works. But I'm rarely a fan of characters that are nothing like who the performer is. I think it's often, it's not like that you should be yourself. I don't think that's necessarily helpful advice. But I do think that it often comes from some version of who you are. That can be helpful. Mahmoud asks, are you even human? I think so. Not sure. Let's see. This is Madden. Thanks. Glad you enjoyed the center deal. Or wait, maybe I already answered that one. Let's see. Are you planning to pursue magic professionally or a job in your university degree or both? Asks Chajord. Right now, giving magic a shot professionally. Give it a few years of trying to do it professionally and see what happens. But hey, maybe I'll fall back on neuroscience someday. I don't know. Opinion about David Blaine, Liam Cath asks. He's amazing. I've also gotten to meet him before. Talked for a little while, demoed a few moves for him. That was really cool. He was super nice. Love his work. He really changed the face of what magic on TV can be. Really found a way of doing it, which is focusing on the audience's reactions. Brilliant idea that he had in doing that. And man, that ascension thing. Oh, when he flew up in the air with balloons, that was awesome. Okay, Imalik asks, can I do a fan? Yes. Scott asks about tricks with maybe slightly special cards. Sometimes, but you have to be able to get them in and out of play. Okay. Yes, Minecraft Loverist. I think I already mentioned this, but yeah, I was like 20 minutes behind. Okay, already did the fan. What's a good beginner's control? Double undercut, maybe a key card. Let's see. Do you have any big hobbies besides magic? I really like photography. Don't get to do it as much as I'd love, but really like photography. I used to do martial art called Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu before. Did that for a few years, but I just got too injured doing Jiu-Jitsu. So I got my blue belt, and then I had to quit, unfortunately, because I got tons of orthopedic injuries, spent too much time in the ER as a result. Just couldn't handle the injuries and couldn't mess up my hands. But super fun. But yeah, I enjoy photography. That's fun. I'm currently taking a little online course on how to program, learning some Python. That's been really fun because I never did that before. So I'd say those are some hobbies. I like to read as well, and watch YouTube videos. That's another big hobby. And of course, make videos. I enjoy doing that as well. Okay, ideas. Nope, already kind of touched on that. Let's see. What is your favorite card mechanic? Steve Forte, Darwin Ortiz, Ricky J, Richard Turner, those guys. All right. Chris, tips on getting a good Pharaoh shuffle. It's all hand positioning. Too complicated for me to teach on stream, but it's about hand positioning and the angle of the cards. Maybe I'll make a video on that someday. It'll be part of an online course I make about Magic, probably. Might be in a Patreon or something. So, yeah. But there's a lot to... I mean, it would take me 30 minutes to even explain the fundamentals of a Pharaoh shuffle properly, so I can't do it justice on stream. Okay, let's see. Opinions on Die Vernon's Cutting the Aces. Great effect. Love it. Let's see. Do you do finger exercises to improve your sleight of hand? Not really. I think I mostly just practice sleight of hand. I don't know how much finger exercises really translate. Is there a hype music artist you listen to before a show? Not really, personally. Sometimes I enjoy listening to, different kinds of music. I really like bands like Glass Animals, kind of the alternative genre, but yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily say there's hype music. Joshua Habash, without saying anything more, yes. But you'll know what I mean by that. Okay, can I do cardistry? I don't do much cardistry. This is about the most fancy cut that I can do, and I don't do it that well. I can do some basic fans, but I prefer the card table stuff. Okay. Someone asked, could you share some of your experiences with Mr. Ed Quan? There's a chance that is Ed Quan. Hi, Ed. Ed is great. One of the most impressive and inspiring performers I've ever met, and one of the most brilliant thinkers I've ever encountered in all of Magic. He likes to keep a low profile, but anything he does is a stroke of genius, basically. Constantly puts me to shame, in a good way. But we talk all the time. He's great. Okay, do some ASMR. I don't know. I don't think I'm good at it. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Okay, I do really like ASMR personally. I made a video about it, Card Magic ASMR. Thoughts about tension with handling cards, asks BZ Razor. When you first learn moves, you're going to have a lot of tension. You're going to have to grip the cards really tightly. That's fine. It's just a matter of slowly releasing the tension and becoming more relaxed while not sacrificing the deceptiveness of the move. Don't get so relaxed that people can just see what's happening through your fingers. That would be bad. Tips for a large crowd performance. Yes, turn cards over like this. Because if you turn them over like this and someone's sitting far away, I should say, if you turn them over like this and someone's sitting far away, once the card's flat on the table, they can't see it anymore. This is an idea that's expressed in Strong Magic by Darwin Ortiz. Whole section on this. It's game-changing. Turn cards over like this and pause here before you let them fall because people far away won't be able to see the tabletop. Or turn them over like this and display them and pause without moving for a moment so that people can see what the card is. Also, it's really important that people can hear you, even more important than them seeing you. But whole section in Strong Magic about that, go read that section. Did I get to meet Penn and Teller? Whirly Freak asks. I got to meet Teller in person, yes. After the show, after I was on stage, went backstage, Teller just came up and said hi. And even though I didn't fool them, he said, oh, by the way, I just want you to know that you fooled us each individually. Part of the trick fooled me, and part of the trick fooled Penn. Unfortunately, the part of the trick that fooled me didn't fool Penn, and the part of the trick that fooled Penn didn't fool me. So they really are the masters, and I'm so appreciative and grateful that I got to be on their show. So I found that pretty funny. But they totally got me fair and square. All right. Teller was super nice, and he is a super nice speaking voice. Okay, as someone who only cares about gambling and card table slate, who do you think I should watch to get better? Asks Peter D'Alessio. Everything by Steve Forte. So his Gambling Protection series, and if you really want to delve deep, his books called Gambling Sleight-of-Hand that were released rather recently. Foundations, Volumes 1, 2, and 3 by Jason England. Also, obviously, the expert at the card table, especially the sections on shuffle work, palming, and false dealing. Those are the best. You're going to get a lot out of those. Routines by Darwin Ortiz is awesome. He's got like some of the best, maybe the best existent gambling sleight-of-hand routines in his books. They're fantastic. Obviously, Richard Turner's great to watch. He hasn't put out a lot of what I would call teaching material, but watch all of his performances on YouTube. They're great. They're awesome. Okay, let's see. Can I do a riffle fan? I don't really know what you mean by a riffle fan, Michael. And let's see. Why is it that I like bicycle cards? Asks Grot Gruson. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing your name correctly. Sorry. Why do I like bicycle cards? Because I go through cards really quickly, and they're rather inexpensive, and their quality is great. That's why. Okay. Is there a way to book a private lesson? Someone's just answering. Yes. To book lessons, because someone is mentioning this in chat, just go to danielroymagik.com/booking. Shameless self-promotion while I throw up in the back of my mouth, because I hate promoting myself. Ugh. All right. What is Max? Without repeating the question, Max Capone Grow. This is my favorite one. This will make sense to people who understand his question. I would say that's probably my favorite. Hopefully that answers your question without being too revealing. Okay. Joshua, liked your performance on Fool Us. You have really great senses. Why, thank you. Alexi RB asked, do you practice sleight of hand with something else than cards? And not referring to pickpocketing. I used to do like coin magic, rope magic, all the other stuff. I don't do that anymore. I just do sleight of hand with cards mostly. I've kind of lost my abilities with other props. I do some mentalism in person though. So that's not really sleight of hand, but that's something else I do in person. Let's see. Howard asks, what's your most memorable experience during a performance? Let's see. Most memorable experience in a performance. Also, hi, Howard. And what would that be? I guess, this one time this guy, I was in the middle of a trick, and he took, like, a false tooth out, and he put it on the table for no good reason. I don't know why, but that was weird, and then he put it back in his mouth. That was kind of strange. Obviously performing at the Castle, Penn and Teller, those were very memorable as well. Let's see. Who makes your favorite cards? The U.S. Playing Card Company. Thanks, Brad Campbell, for the question. Tara, show me a trick or else I'm leaving. I don't know if you mean perform a trick or do a trick or something or teach a trick. I don't know what you're talking about. Here's a trick. There. Ta-da. I don't know if that's what you're looking for. Okay. Opinions on Shin Lim. He's great. He really So magic is often a verbal form of performance art, the same way stand-up comedy is, right? It's verbal, it's interactive in that way. Shin Lim had the idea of, okay, let's make this expressive in the same way that music is. Now, of course, he wasn't the very first one to ever do magic for music, but he certainly has done it in creative and ways that no one else has. And he found it. I mean, he really found something that people connect with. And so I think what he's doing is great. And I'm really, really always impressed by his creativity and the directions that he takes his routines. And yeah, he successfully turned magic into purely expressive performance art, which is like super cool. So love it. Let's see. Let's see. Which close-up pad? People are asking. This is by a guy named Patrick Przaski. Go to Patrick's Magical Mats. Patrick spelled Patrick. Patrick's Magical Mats. This is plush green. I also love the spectral green, and I like the plush and spectral fabrics in black as well. Custom mats, they're a little more pricey, and don't get the bag that he offers. Just get the mat. You don't need the bag. But they will last way longer than anything else. So highly recommended. Let's see. Richard asks, how do you get over nerves during a performance? Confidence. You need to be really confident in what you're doing. Confidence comes from practice. You need to basically know inside that you could handle any situation, like literally any situation that comes up, you can handle it. That is fundamentally what you want to know in your mind. That's kind of what I would say is you need to have that kind of confidence in your abilities and confidence in your performance abilities. That will help you get over your nerves. They'll also just start to go away with time the more you perform. All right. Can I do a stream at 30K? Well, I don't know if I'm going to hit 30K by the end of the stream. Probably not. But that's maybe at 40 or 50 or something. I might also do. I'll maybe do a poll about this. I might do like monthly Q&A streams like this. Just do a stream every month. I really enjoy doing this kind of thing. So if people have questions and want to hang out for an hour or two every month, I'd happily do that. If you think that'd be fun, just let me know. Okay. Let's see. Already talked about the pad. Munmoon asks, have you read Steve Forte's books? I own them. They're right over there. And I'm in the process of reading them. They're incredible. The material, there's just so much to work through that it's going to take me a while to really feel like I understand what he's getting at and make the changes he advocates for and think about my interpretation of that material. They're incredible. If you love gambling sleight of hand, get them. Just look up gambling sleight of hand, Steve Forte. Yeah. Okay. How do you practice with sweaty hands? So I don't always have that problem. I have fairly dry hands, so I actually have to put hand moisturizer lotion on rather frequently. I use the Aveeno kind of beige-green bottle. That's the hand lotion I like. It doesn't get the cards too greasy. People who have really sweaty or sticky hands, generally, you need to wash your hands with soap and water, and that will dry out your hands. So you want to have a hand texture that is just tacky enough and no stickier. So, wash your hands. If I don't put hand lotion on, I can barely deal the top card, let alone the second one or the bottom one. So it's fine if you need it's fine if you need to moisturize your hands or dry them out. Okay. TK cards asked, got to see you in the close-up gallery last time you performed there. Love your work. Oh, thank you so much. And T cards, I think you did some like Omegle magic, and that was one of the first times I saw a magician do some like Omegle performing. I think maybe on TikTok or something. I don't know if it was you. Maybe it was. And that kind of inspired me quite a while ago to do some Omegle performing. But thanks. Glad you enjoyed it. Okay. Let's see. Clint. Good question. Not something I really feel like I can cover in sufficient depth on stream. So I'll have to think about it. Maybe in the online course or something. But really good question. That's a tricky one. Apparently, okay, and I have a pen. Okay, the U is longer sounding, like Gruus. Okay, so is it Grat Gruson, maybe? Am I saying your name correctly? Grat Gruson? I don't know what the two dots over the O, what sound those make. Also, what, culture does your name come from? I don't know where in the world where that comes from. Can I do a backflip? Asks Mahmoudi. No, but I can make a card do a backflip. Ta-da. Oh, stupid. Okay. Sam asks, hey, Daniel, thanks for the great content. What is your advice for stepping up magic? How do I learn more well-kept secrets? Usually books. Books are the way to go. That's where some of the best ideas are found. I would love Darwin Ortiz's books, or his books on card magic, are just like second to none. They're incredible. I highly recommend those. What else? The classics as well. Stars of Magic, Vernon's Inner Secrets trilogy. Basically, I made a video called How to Learn Magic, where I talk about my favorite books and videos. Just watch that. That's where I'd say you get a lot of the more, kind of deeper secrets in a sense. Okay. Let's see. Views on Chris Ramsey asks, he's great. He does really cool stuff on YouTube, great puzzle stuff. He actually does more puzzles than magic these days, I think. But I find, seeing that he's had some success, not just some, but a lot of success on YouTube, it's really inspiring to me, because I hope maybe one day I can even get a 10th as far as he has. He's certainly found a way of making magic on YouTube work. So definitely very inspiring. Really enjoy his content. Okay, do I know the snap change? Michael asks. Yes, not super well. Okay. Had to find where. Go to move. Let's see. No Mr. Bean impression. No, sorry. InfoCub is asking, the thing that surprised me when I started to perform is that how people doesn't get you when you do the moves. I don't think I quite understand your question. Sorry, I don't. Something I may be missing there. Munmoon asks, have you ever had doubts in pursuing magic? Yes, all the time. Yeah, I always wonder, what am I doing with my life? So, I don't really know. I go back and forth between this is the greatest thing ever and what's happening. So yeah, it's definitely some of both. Scott asks, are you familiar with Hannibal? I love his work. Love it. He's just incredible videos online. Hilarious guy. I've unfortunately never seen him live. He was at the castle the week I was there, but I was too busy performing. I never got to see his performances. Huge fan of his, though. He's awesome. Look up Hannibal the Magician on YouTube. Fantastic stuff. Okay, let's see. Underground Boy says, hello. Hello. Have you differential equations? Have you ever failed a trick? Yes. Tricks have gone wrong. A memorable one is I was doing a trick in a show where at the end of the trick, the cards are supposed to end up in new deck order. At the end of the trick, I start spreading through the deck. They were not in new deck order. This was hilarious. I was able to fix a lot of it, but I was like, and look, they're in order, and they're in order, and they're in order. Thanks very much. And I just got off stage. So that was pretty funny. Okay, if I could perform for anyone, who would it be? Alive, dead, I'd love to perform for Di Vernon and Walter Scott and S.W. Ordonez. It'd be cool to meet those guys. I don't have a Ouija board, I never know how to pronounce it, so I'm not quite sure. But yeah, no, they're great. I'd love to go back in time and perform for them. And in fact, that's what the second routine I do in my Magic Castle show is all about. When I talk about, wanting to go back in time and play cards with them, that's not just for the trick. That's really true. That's what I'd do if you gave me a time machine. Well, one of the things. There are obviously some humanitarian things one can do with a time machine. Those come first. Then, magicians I'd like to meet. Okay. Danny W. says, I loved your 3-card Monty trick. Thanks. And let's see. Sean Does Magic does it. Oh, probably referring to Simomegal stuff. Yeah. Let's see. Do you always have a deck of cards with you? Asks F. Soyd. Not always a deck of cards. I do have a set of 3-card Monty cards in my wallet because then I don't have to have them in my pocket. I used to carry cards with me everywhere I went. If I've got a backpack or an extra pocket, yeah, sure. Because, you never know when you might have some time to do some practicing. But I don't whip out cards and ask to perform for people all the time. I generally wait until I'm asked to perform. I don't like shoving magic down people's throats in person or just on an everyday basis. So if someone asks me to perform something and everyone there wants me to perform, then yeah, sure. Yeah, that's when I do it. And then, let's see, Imalik. I think Imalik, I already talked about Chris Ramsey. Go-to move, I don't know if I really have one. It's so dependent on the context of the trick, so I'm not quite sure. But hopefully that gets to your questions. But yeah, love Chris Ramsey. He's great. And I talked about that earlier a bit. Okay, T-cards. Yeah, that was probably you. Cool. Oh yeah. Hope to run into you at Misdirection someday as well. Maybe post-pandemic, I'll be around there. Feel free to shoot me a DM on Instagram if you're going to be by there. In a post-pandemic world. Okay. Let's see. Sean asks, not magic related, but can you explain what is happening when we practice for a very long time but still not absorb or learn something from it? Good question. Very good question. Let's see. I think what I would say is, I think you can hit walls sometimes. I think you can just hit walls at times. And the thing is that sometimes you just need to take time away from whatever you're practicing. You don't want to burn out. So just take some time away and then come back to it. And sometimes you will, you'll have some unexpected progress. What's going on, neurologically, hard to say. But the way that you learn things is active recall, which means you have to do it from memory or in a new way, with what's called spaced repetition, doing it at spaced out intervals. So we know that works in a neuroscience sense, so you can apply that to everything you learn. Great book called, oh gosh, I'm totally forgetting the name of the book now. Something about learning, where I learned all about that. Let me look it up, see if active recall spaced repetition book. Let's see. Yeah, I do not remember the name of that book. A number of great books. If I find it, maybe I'll post it in chat. Sorry. Okay, and this is Madden. I think I got to some of your questions earlier. There are questions that are being asked that got asked like 25 minutes ago, so I'm trying not to answer duplicate questions. I'm looking for questions that are new. But if you have a question that you think hasn't been asked yet, that's new, yeah, ask it. And if I miss something, I apologize. It's hard to keep up with chat as it goes by. But if I truly have missed your question and haven't said anything about it, feel free to ask it again. Jordan Taylor asks, is a mat essential? How do you go about performing without it once you use it for practice? Okay, so here's the thing about a mat. You want to use a mat for things that you will actually use a mat for when you really perform them. You don't want to use a mat for something where you're only going to be performing it without a mat. So just remember that the mat is there for tabled riffle shuffle work, right? What a mat ultimately does is it allows you to pick up cards like this, and it allows you to more evenly spread cards like this without having to slide cards off the table. So that is ultimately what I would recommend. So if you're going to use a mat to practice something, make sure that's something that you're going to, use in that performance. But if it's something you're going to be doing in a casual scenario where you won't have a mat, you need to practice it without a mat. Okay, InfoCub asks about the backflip again. I know, amazing, right? Stupid joke. Okay, let's see. Brown Mango asks, hey, what's up? I went to the store and purchased a deck of cards right after watching one of your videos last week. Glad to hear. Happy practicing. Memorizer asks about Royal Road. It's been a while since I've read a lot of the earlier books, but once upon a time I knew them very well. Okay. Let's see. All right. Let me find. Yep, everything just jumped again. Okay, now I'm back. There we go. InfoCub Arcade. Yeah, some people like books more. Some people like videos more. That's just kind of the nature of how it goes. But I would. Yeah, I guess what I'd say is they're both important. You ultimately, if you want to get really good, books matter. Because there's a lot of stuff that's in books that's just never been on video. But you can certainly prioritize video if that's something that you prefer. Okay. All right. Nope. This is Madden. I can see you. And then is it Mahmoud? I don't know. When would your online course come out? Maybe in 2 months, 2.5 months, hopefully. It's going to take a while because I don't want to post it until I have a good core set of videos up. I want to make sure that if people sign up for it, they're really getting something of value. All right. Thanks so much, Imalik. Let's see. Thoughts on small hands and sleight of hand. Small hands are fine. It really shouldn't get in the way necessarily. If they're really, really, really tiny, then that may be a problem. But almost always it's just a matter of like of you know, basically it's mechanics. It's just mechanical stuff. So that's what I'd say. It's primarily mechanical stuff, and I'd recommend that you try to work on making the moves work in your hands. That's the main thing. Even if your hands are small, they can work. It's such a complicated subject that I really can't get much across about it on a stream, but you can do it. Suffice it to say. Okay, do 3 most essential sleights, Don Podless. I don't want to go too much into that, but I guess very briefly, break, pinky count, DL. Probably those. Maybe double undercut, but I don't want to go too much into methods here. Okay, let's see. What is the thing you could most improve on? Asks Justin Mathis. Great question. So much of what I focus on these days is about performance and about my persona and my interaction with the audience and things like that. And also just finding new perspectives on magic that other people haven't found. That's where a lot of my time goes. So I think that's something I could put some time into. All right, this is Madden. What is a question that you wish we asked but haven't yet? I honestly don't know. I mean, people asked a lot of great questions. I can't really think of anything, but maybe you can come up with something. All right, can you throw cards in a fancy way, asks Alexis. Let's see if I can do a boomerang card. There you go. That's about the most fancy one I can do. Let's see, can I do the Bertram change? I used to do the sleight, haven't practiced it in a while, so I don't want to butcher the move on screen, Techno Linux, but I did used to do it. And maybe I'll practice it again and put it in a video at some point. It's a cool move, love it. 54 Cards the Gamer asks, you are good at sleight of hand, but are you also into mentalism? Yes, but I don't mostly do mentalism in person. I don't feel like it translates quite as well over video or chat or video. Okay, Gratz Grunson, thanks for the pronunciation help. Glad I'm saying some weird phrase. That's awesome. Omar, I really can't cover that in a stream. It's just too much depth to go into on a stream. So maybe in an online course. But good question. Okay, Richard asks about Leonard Green's laser deal, or actually no, it came before him, but he's really the one who popularized it. Well, he created the laser deal, but some of the technique, some of the parts of that technique came before him. Does it count as gambling work? I don't know. It's kind of in the gray area. Ben asked, have I invented a move yourself? Yeah, sort of, but ultimately nothing's new under the sun. Let's see, which USPCC cards are you using right now? Tally-ho, Fanbacks, blue, love them. Let's see, what have I not answered yet? How do you get to perform at places like the Magic Castle, asks Acero. You send in audition footage. You send in audition footage and you hope. And they have to like your audition footage and ask you to perform there. So yeah. Although that's to like work the gallery, work the close-up gallery or parlor or stage or whatever. Becoming a member is a different process. Becoming a magician member, I'm not a magician member, so I don't really know anything about that, unfortunately. Okay, what do I think about videos with expose in the title? Kind of depends what they mean by expose. Gambling expose, love it. Exposing someone's trick on YouTube, well, I don't love it, but it's inevitable. It happens, and there's pretty much nothing we can do about it. It certainly gets clicks, so that's nice, but I may use the word expose in the context of a gambling expose, but my intention with my channel is not to just expose magic tricks. I think there are other things I can do. Okay. InfoCut, back to your question. Maybe, so English, let's see if I can answer a question. This is not really a question, but more answering about the confidence thing. I was afraid to be spotted by the audience when they didn't. Yeah, I mean, it's just you'll gain confidence when you do moves, and people don't notice them. That's great. How many tricks should a routine have? Asks Ivan Mosquera. Hope I'm saying your name correctly. I imagine what you're getting at is about like how many tricks should you do in a show? And there's no good answer to that question because shows are of all different lengths. Sometimes it's a 15-minute show, or half an hour, or an hour and a half. So it totally depends on the length of the show. You don't want it to be all super short tricks. You also don't want it to be all super long tricks. Some variety is good. Emalik, yes, thanks so much. Glad to hear. All right. Yeah, Munmoon. The doubt is tough, but the dexterity is fun to practice. LH asked about, was I disappointed when Penn said I didn't fool them? I was using a pretty intricate method, and they'd been fooled by similar methods to what I was using before. So I was a little surprised when it didn't fool them. I mean, yeah, of course it would have been really cool to fool them, but that's not really the point of the show. And it was actually pretty funny that I fooled them individually, but didn't fool them as a unit, as Teller said after the show. If you want more information on that, I made a reaction video to my Fool Us performance on my channel, and that has a lot more info in it about all that stuff. Okay, can I cast spells? Unfortunately, no. Is there such a thing as real magic? Depends what you mean by real magic. In the supernatural sense, no. In the sense of, you know, love or sunsets or childbirth, well, yeah. I mean, those are magical in a way. Anyone alive you'd love to perform for? Magicians, it'd be really cool to get to perform for, like, Darren Brown or something like that. I'd enjoy that. I've met him very briefly after a show, got to talk to him. But I'd love to be able to perform something for him and hear his thoughts. That'd be great. Okay, let's see. Anyone favorite? Joshua, without going much into your question, don't want to reveal too much. Independent, almost always independent, and Darwin Ortiz's books, especially Lessons in Card Mastery. Also, all of Simon Aronson's work and some stuff by Juan Tamariz as well. That's where I'd look for that kind of thing. Trey, how do you know if your hands are too small? Complicated question. I don't want to go into it too much here because I don't think I'd be able to do it justice, but unless you have truly really tiny hands, if you are anywhere from a teenager to an adult, your hands are fine. They're not too small. And if they feel too small, that's because of mechanical issues in the way you're doing the technique, not the size of your hands. That's the case 99.9% of the time. Tommy, hey Tommy, thanks for dropping by. What are your favorite moves to practice? Also, what is your go-to trick? Hard to say. Favorite moves, you know, probably the bottom deal. That's my favorite move to practice. So 2 of hearts on the bottom, deal a round of cards. There's the 2 of hearts. Bottom deal is my favorite move to practice. Love it. Yeah, go-to trick, I don't really know. Hard to say. There's one thing I may try. Oh, maybe I don't know if I can change that in real time. Let's see. Can I change that? All right. No. Nope. Maybe you can't do that. Okay. Maybe you can. Let me see if I can change that. Hopefully the stream is still going. Oh, nope, that's not what I want to do. I want to go back to the stream. Yeah, here we go. All right, good, we're back. Cool. I don't know if I just caused the stream to freeze or something. Apologies. Okay, here we are. Good, we're back. Sorry about that if there was any drop in anything. But just let me know. Yeah, okay, we're good. We're still going. My bad. Just clicked on the wrong thing there. Fun. Let's see. Where was I? All right, let me go up a little bit. Where are we at? Wow, so much. Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll just start here. Oh, no, already talked about those. Okay. Yeah. Where are we? Okay. You're an inspiration for someone getting into magic. Thanks so much, Emilique. Yes, 54 cards. I love tricks where the cards are just thought of. That's always really cool. I like that a lot. Always a fun thing to mess with. Vernon's out of sight, out of mind is a great trick in that way. Don Podless, yes, I do. Not so much on YouTube, but in person, yes, I do. Thanks for the stream. Asks Set Dragon, how often should one get a new pack of cards? Okay, so it depends on, like, how much. It depends basically on how much you're going to do moves that depend on really, like, slippery cards. So for false shuffles, false deals, things like that, newer cards are helpful. And for other moves, more beat-up cards are helpful. That's kind of what I'd say. So hard to say. But when you're just starting, maybe once a week. For me, like sometimes every day. I open new decks of cards all the time. But when you're starting, once a week, maybe that's probably good. InfoCub. Yeah, I don't know much about books in French. Most Magic books are in English. That's just the way it is, for better or for worse. So yeah, that seems to be the language. I mean, I think Card College has been translated into French. I'm pretty sure it has, at least. So maybe there's something there. That might be good. But I don't know about other ones. Okay. Let's see. Mentioned in a video where I played Go Fish when I was like 5, asks Logan, do you not like Go Fish? Well, I don't think I've played Go Fish since I was a little kid. What's your favorite card game? Well, I mean, I don't play a lot of actual card games. As I've mentioned before, I'm much more interested in the philosophy and techniques about cheating at cards than I am in actually playing cards. Recently, I'd actually never played Settlers of Catan before. It's not really a card game. It's a board game, but it involves cards. Played that for the first time a few months ago. Loved it. Been playing with that with family. That's been really fun. Okay. Favorite card trick, Acero? Hard to say. Maybe 3-card Monty or Triumph. This is Madden. Small hands use bridge side cards. So you can, but I would actually recommend against it. I'd recommend you use poker size cards, and you get used to them. You'll just make better progress that way. Let's see. Yes, I'm not going to read your name. But in terms of the finger length and whole hand, you're right. That more than the size of your hands, the structure of your hands, size of palm, length of fingers, texture, finger thickness, those actually matter a lot more. They're very right in that sense. Okay. Ben, have I ever been asked to perform with only plastic cards? Yes, just do stuff that, doesn't require too much advanced sleight of hand or do self-working tricks. Let's see. Aiden Choi, I really, I don't want to get into that on stream. I don't think I can do the topic justice in this format. So maybe in some other format where I can really, explain it well. Okay. Let's see. And yes, this is man, and it is about misdirection and cover. That's a big part of it. It's about mechanics. That's what really important. Hard work. Can I do the top shot? Yes. Am I related to Daniel Radcliffe? No. My name is Daniel, and I kind of look like him, and I do magic, but no. InfoCub Arcade. Of course I am. It's obvious. Okay, fine. Yes, I am. You've got me. Am I familiar with A Gambler's Dream by Roberto Giobbi? Is that in Card College? Says this is asked by Chester Greenidge. Is that in Card College? If it is, I'm familiar with it because I've read those books like 80,000 times. But I'm not remembering right now. So I don't remember the plot of the routine. I'd have to check it out. Maybe I'll go take a look at it and it'll spark something new. Justin asks, how long did it take before you felt confident enough to do a trick for someone? Well, when I was really little, when I was like 10, and I just started, I'd practice a trick for a few hours and then perform it. Don't do that. Give it a few days. Make sure it looks good in front of the mirror at least. Of course, if it's a much more difficult trick, give it much more time. But you ultimately can't really learn how to do a trick until you've started performing it for people. And understand, the first few performances are not going to be great. Do them for some trusted family or friends where it doesn't matter if you screw up to get a hanger of it. But you really can't truly practice without an audience. And also, practicing in front of a mirror or a video camera is great, but you want to make sure that you also practice in front of a wall or nothing at all, because when you perform for real, you are not going to you're not going to be able to see from the audience's perspective. You're only going to see from your own perspective. So you really need to make sure that you're able to handle that. Okay, let's see. Do I play any video games? Sometimes. Big fan of The Witcher 3, The Last of Us, Part 1 and Part 2. Part 2 is a little controversial. I enjoyed it. I liked it. I can see what people disliked about it, but I personally, the game worked for me. But, some people it really didn't work for, and I can see why. Loved Part 1 of The Last of Us. Loved The Witcher 3. Played a lot of Skyrim when I was younger. I think I played RuneScape when I was a little kid as well. Never really got into World of Warcraft, but I played a lot of Guild Wars 2 as well. What else? Horizon Zero Dawn. Really excited for Part 2. But yeah, I haven't played too many games recently. I've just been too busy. Kind of goes in waves. Have played some Cyberpunk. Haven't finished the game, though. Okay, let's see. Info Cub asks, did you learn stuff from Richard Turner? I didn't necessarily learn techniques from him, but his videos and his life story and everything have been very inspiring to me. So in that sense, yes. This is Madden. How has COVID changed the way you perform magic and interact with people? Well, I've had to basically do, virtual shows, so it's changed it in that sense, obviously. Yeah, that's kind of what I'd say. Aladdin asked, how does riffle shuffle control takes time to learn? I assume you mean how much time does it take to learn? Well, it kind of depends on which control. Yeah, so it depends on the easier ones, less time, harder ones, a lot of time. Okay, Acero asks, what's the hardest card trick that you can do? Probably, if you watch the my castle show, the closer there, it's probably about it, the hardest thing that I actually perform. Bicycle or tally-ho? I like the designs on tally-ho more. Bicycles are cheaper and more recognizable, so I use them more. Let's see. Wow, I'm really behind on the questions, sorry. Apologies. Let me see. Easiest way to misdirect, asks Tommy. Give people an ostensible motivation, something to look at. Like, okay, you turn over that card. Everyone's going to look at the spectator doing that. Just looking at something isn't enough. You need to give them a reason that they should be looking at some spot. What do I do if you mess up a trick? Have some outs ready. Have outs in your head. Have another deck of cards with you. Know what you're going to do if something goes wrong. Is nervous as always, and so I should say, because I'm so behind, I don't think I'm going to get to every single question. But I'll try to skip around to some good ones. Let's see. All right. Actually, here's what I'm going to do. Ask a few more questions. Let me actually go over here to OBS and add something. To add another scene. Turn soon. Let's see. Yeah, Memorizer. I mean, it's really... Oh, hopefully people can hear me again. I hope I've... Yeah. Okay, we're good. What I'd say is that you basically want to just, like... It's not just about you fooling them. And it's not just about them trying to figure out what you're doing. That can't be the only dynamic. And if that is the only dynamic, then there's some kind of problem. So I guess what I would say is, remember that the performance is ultimately about more than that. That's I guess what I'd say. All right, let's see. Daniel will like this, but Google for the Magician's Forum. I don't quite know what that is. What happened to the stream? I'm back. Yes. What else? Okay, Munmoon, about philosophy and magic. Yeah, I wanted to talk about that question. I think that's great. So, what I would say in this regard is that I mean, I don't know quite what you mean by magic philosophy. Are you referring to magic theory, or are we thinking about like philosophy outside of magic, but its role in magic? For magic theory, just read Strong Magic and Designing Miracles. Read Juan Tamariz's books on magic theory, especially The Magic Way. Yeah, read those. This is Madden. Ascanio as well. Absolutely. And I guess what I would say for, philosophy, I think there's a lot of interesting philosophy that applies to magic, but it's just a matter of finding the right analogy or using magic as an analogy to discuss philosophy. So, Scott, I don't know, really hard to say. Maybe a third or something, half? I don't know. But a lot of those setups you can get into without... you can get into those setups with techniques that let you do it in front of the audience. Adele, right steps to learn magic. get Card College Volume 1, watch my videos. No, I'm kidding. I mean, shameless plug for my videos, of course. I will certainly make some more videos about how to do magic. I'll make an online course, so there's one way of learning magic. You gotta find if you love it, because there's no reason to do it other than if you like doing it. So practice slowly, practice incrementally, start with some basic sleight of hand and work up from there. I'd really recommend Card College Volume 1. It's great. Or take lessons. Yuck. Hate saying that. Okay, what kind of skincare routine do I use? I use this like Aveeno hand lotion. It's like I think this stuff, this Aveeno hand lotion. Sponsored by? No, they're not a sponsor. I just this works really well. Doesn't get greasy. Okay, and then let's see what else. John Cosme, thanks. Glad you like the videos. Munmoon, in terms of magic theory, I would say, or in terms of philosophy. Well, I mean, there are lots of interesting topics in philosophy that I think, I mean, there are just lots of interesting ways that you can use magic to talk about those concepts. I'm realizing it might be hard to get that across in the stream, but I'm going to make some videos about that in the future, so you'll see. Memorizer, I don't know. I don't know. Can you at them if you type at or something? At someone? Or nope. At, I don't know, John. Yeah. Type at and then start typing their name and it will autofill. Let's see. Lexi, yeah, that's fine. Feel free to ask lots of questions. Which trick gets the most appreciation and applause? Probably the bridge deal at the end of the 3 card cheats routine that I do in my castle performance. Often that's often. Koi, can I teach the perfect pharaoh on the table? It's way beyond the scope of a stream like this to teach it and demonstrate it. Looks like this. But yeah, definitely not something I can teach. Okay. Let's see, the retro room. I perform and have done so for quite some. What is the best way to escalate these to larger opportunities, Magic Castle and the like? It is a hard question to answer because so much of our progress in life is just luck. I mean, not that it's all luck, but we can't control the opportunities that are presented to us, right? We've no control over that. What we can control is how ready we are for those opportunities, right? So of course, making videos online is certainly helpful. Oh, Munmoon, glad this was helpful. Glad you enjoyed. I think, and thanks, Rodrigo. Yeah, I'm glad I hit 25K. I'm blown away that even happened. I never thought people would really watch my videos, but I'm surprised they do. Also what I'm noticing here is, I started this stream and I was like, oh, I'll answer the 100 or so questions that I was asked in the comment section on my community poll. And so far, I've answered absolutely none of those, which is pretty funny. So, yeah, I guess I'll have to do this another time. Okay, do I do cardistry? Not really. And, okay, but there's someone else's question that I was in the middle of answering. Let's see. Oh, escalating performance opportunities. You can't really control the opportunities that are presented to you, but you can control how ready you are for those opportunities. And, I mean, you need to do everything you can to take performances initially. You just need to do performances because you never know who you'll meet that will change things for you. That's hard advice to give because everyone has a different pathway to getting there. And the way I mean, I'm still in my very early stages, but the way I've made some progress so far is going to be different for how it works for you. So I don't want to give you sage advice that is ultimately profoundly unhelpful. All right, let's see. Adele, I really don't feel like I could teach something constructive in a stream. If I find a way of doing that, I may do it at some point, but I'd have to really think about it to make sure that I'm teaching something good. John Cosme, hardest move you ever practiced? The center deal. And maybe 1 or 2 others. Also riffle stacking. All right, and someone was saying, Munmoon, yeah, glad this has been helpful. Glad this has rekindled some of your interests. Bjorn, hey, can you show us a trick? Sure, maybe in a moment. Let's see. I'm the only one who practices card stuff a lot because they feel amazing and kind of calm me. Oh, memorizer. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, as you can see this entire time, I've just been mindlessly fiddling with cards. Just occupies my hands in a way that I really like. Okay, Rodrigo, what's my favorite color? Green. This is Madden. Is your sleeve roll-up is from Darwin Ortiz? Sort of, yeah. The way I roll them up and the way I actually roll them, yes. That I roll my sleeves up, well, lots of people do that, so I don't really think so. But the manner of rolling them up so that they stay in place, yeah. Okay, what else? Hasn't been asked. Thanks, Cryptor. Glad you like the channel. Abdel Rahman, I don't think so. Maybe I don't recognize the name. Okay. One more. You talked about being. Munmoon asks about being mindful. I assume you kind of use magic or sleight of hand meditatively. Yeah, I've done a little meditation. Just actual mindfulness meditation outside of magic. When I say being mindful, I mean you need to be present and in the moment, whatever that means to you. And you need to be aware of what's going on and not so preoccupied by what's going on in your head or in the trick that you can't interact with people. So it's a little different than mindfulness meditation in a sense, but there's some crossover, I think. All right, Shane, who's a better card handler, me or Kotsia? Depends on the sleight of hand technique. I mean, we just do very different types of sleight of hand. So it depends on which technique and depends on your opinions. I don't know. Kotsia's awesome. And his Fool-less performances are amazing. I love watching Penn and Teller's reactions. So yeah, I don't really know. Okay, let's see. We just kind of operate in different domains. What else? Baller Squid asks, nice name. What are the best few things to practice if I'm just getting into it? How to hold a deck of cards, some basic techniques in the first volume of Card College. Just for the time being, get Card College Volume 1. That's my recommendation, Roberto Giobbi. And use my affiliate link in the description of my videos. Thanks. So I can get 5 cents from it. What else? I'm going to make an online course somewhat soon about introductory sleight of hand. So there's your one-stop shop. Woohoo. No, certainly not the only way of doing it. Okay, let's see. Max, see, riffle stacking is kind of easy compared to the center deal. Riffle stacking 1 or 2 cards, much easier. Riffle stacking more cards and doing it truly imperceptibly, much harder. Or not much harder, but at least on par with a center deal. Okay, someone, SH Magic, can you show us riffle stacking without doing a table shuffle? I don't really know what you mean without doing a table shuffle. I mean, you have to shuffle the cards on the table to stack them. So I don't quite know what you mean there. Memorizer. It's been a long time since I've read Paper Engine, but I remember really enjoying it. Aaron's book is great. Nathan says, shuffle and deal all the aces to yourself. Okay, sure. Watch me just miss on stream. That'd be funny. Aces on top of the deck. Here goes. Aces on top. Gonna stack for a 5-handed game. I think I missed. After you shuffle, always have to cut. Here we go. Let's see if this works. 1, 2, 3, and see if I can hit it. Oop. Perfect. Love missing on stream. Isn't that great? Woohoo. All right, let's try that again. That was terrible. All right, there we go. Just the pressure of, 80-something people watching. All right. Riffle stacking is something that I find if I don't practice it literally every day, I lose the ability. So I get rusty pretty fast. Okay, here we go. 3, and this better be 4. Hey, there we go. Okay, it worked that time. Okay. Oh, basic shuffle used in home games, SH. That's what you're asking about. Yeah, at least that wasn't real life. Good. Although, that's the nice thing about riffle stacking is if you miss, it's just a legitimate shuffle. There's nothing really to catch. Yeah, let's, well, Max, what I'd say is, I'm good at riffle stacking, but I'm not. I'm much better at false deals than I am at riffle stacking. I mean, there are levels way above what I can do in riffle stacking that some people are able to hit. Yeah, don't worry, Adele. I miss too from time to time. Just happens. That was great. The first time I've ever done riffle stacking on stream. Totally miss. Fun. Oh, you know, I'll do it. Here's a demo I haven't done for a while. I'll do this demo. Okay, first, let's do it. Just quick false dealing demo. Here goes. First is a second deal. Ace of spades on top. So these are some seconds. All right. Levi, I don't know what you mean by riffle fan. I don't know what move you're referring to. Okay, those are seconds. Let's do some bottoms. Aces on the bottom. Let me just move this out of the way. I'm like not even reading any questions off here. Okay, aces on the bottom. Here goes. Deal a 5-handed game. And I'll deal the aces to myself off the bottom. 4 aces off the bottom. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, okay, can't answer that one, unfortunately. All right, let me think about this. How do I do this last one? Yes, I remember. Okay, all right, we did a bottom deal. We did a second deal. Let's do a center deal. 4 aces start on top, and I will cut them into the middle. Now, it's very important that you can see these cards are legitimately in the middle of the pile. 4 aces in the middle, and I should say there's no work in these cards. There's nothing special about these cards. So 4 aces in the middle. I will very slowly square them up. And importantly, I'm holding no breaks, and they indeed still are in the middle of the pile. Here we go. All right. Here goes. Center deal time. Let's see if I can do it. So I'm going to deal a 5-handed game. All right. I think I got it. And that should be all 4 aces. So there's your center deal demo. Okay. This is Madden. Thanks. Glad you like the bottom deal. Let's do one more round of bottoms. See if I can do this. Aces in the bottom. I'm going to pitch this time. I'm going to pitch the cards around the table. So let's see if I can hit this. This is a slightly different style of dealing. Oh, jeez. Okay, so those were not to my hand. That time I dealt out to the third hand. So, pitching the cards. I think I kind of missed on one, but oh well. Yeah, not that one. That center deal. No break, which is nice. QBs, do I watch anime? Not really. I used to watch some when I was younger, but never really got into it. Just into a fan. Riffle fan is a similar technique to the anaconda. I mean, I know that there's that's springing the cards, and this is a dribble. I don't know what you mean by if this is what you mean by a fan, maybe. Okay, Cryptor, glad you enjoyed the Penn and Teller performance. Thanks very much. And then let me think. Have I ever seen Renee Lavande or Juan Tamariz? Well, Renee Lavande is no longer with us, I don't think. I don't think so. So of course never got to see him in person. Juan Tamariz, I have met him once. Got to talk to him for just a few minutes. But yeah. Okay, let's see. Max talking about the center slightly laddered. That's actually more of a stylistic thing. It's not there's actually noise on the deal. There's noise when I put the card onto the table. On the center dealing demo, I was adding a little extra snap to the cards when I was dealing them down. So that's where that comes from. It's just a stylistic thing, and you're right, I was not totally consistent. Okay, let's see. Why are my chats? I don't think they are, John. I don't know why. But yeah, just feel free to ask questions. Where did I learn the center deal from? Asks Ayan. Jason England's Foundations, Volume 1. Mainly there, and just personal experimentation. Memorize, are you talking about this thing? I can't really... Is it like that one where they fan out like this? That's as well as I can do it. I've never really practiced it before. That's just me kind of guessing my way through it. Okay, Charles, tips for the top shot. Not really. I mean, I do the move, but I don't know if I have any real work on the move of any kind. Just practice it, and There's a moment where your hands are close together and then spread apart afterward to help create some more difference. This is Madden. Steve Forte. That's your reference for the that center that you saw. That's the reference. I'm gonna make you hunt for it, but Steve Forte. Okay. Craig was saying, "Hey Daniel, thanks. Glad you like the videos. And you want to get into magic? What's the first trick you should learn?" Well, funnily enough, I have a trick on my channel called "Learn an Easy Magic Trick." And you should watch that because it's an easy magic trick. In all seriousness, I think it's a great trick to learn first. It's one of the first tricks I ever learned. Actually, it might be the first trick I ever learned, Nick. So I'd recommend that one because it's great. It'll teach you some fundamentals, and then you watch my video. So thanks. And turn your ad block off so I get that sweet ad revenue. Woohoo! Just kidding. Do whatever you want. Block the ads. I don't care. Let's see. All right. My parents are very supportive of me doing magic, which is cool. I never really thought about doing it seriously until like a year or so ago. Yeah. Okay. Cairo. Oh, glad they liked the trick. Glad they liked the trick. Hope that was fun to perform and everything. Yeah, I'm really glad that worked out. That people have enjoyed performing that. Yeah, I'm kind of impressed. Like, I made that video, rather than like, what am I saying? I made that video like almost a year ago. Actually, yeah, a year ago. Just made it on a whim, like, oh yeah, I'll teach a trick to people, and it got a few thousand views, and it just recently hit 100K, which is nuts. So maybe I'll make another one like that. Okay, have I seen Shin's AGT final trick? Yes, that's an effect by Paul Wilson called Con Cam Coincidencia. I have not performed it myself, but I do love the trick. It's great. Kane, tips for the second deal. Watch Jason England's Foundations Volume 1 and 2, the strike and push-off second. Read Expert at the Card Table. Look at everything Steve Forte has ever done, and everything Richard Turner has ever done, and everything Darwin Ortiz has ever done. Those are my tips. All right, let's see. Marwan, glad I've inspired you. That's great. John Cosme, do I use the laser deal? Not really. It's super cool. It's just never a move I really got into. Justin, do I know how to undo the cut after the shuffle at the card table? Well, there are a lot of moves for doing this. Yeah, there are some that I do, but I think there are more elegant ways than having to do the shift yourself. You should just work with a partner who does a false cut for you. That's way better. Plus, then you don't have the heat for dealing yourself the winning hand. How long have I been in Magic, QBeast? Like almost 15 years. Patrick, yep, thank you. Glad I hit 25K, and thanks. Levi, can I vanish cards? I mean, this is about the extent of it. So there's a, easy, quick vanish. Make it appear over here, make it appear, disappear, appear up here. That's about the extent of card vanishes. I think I used to do, the card manipulation stuff, but it's been a long time since I did any of that. Haven't done that for years, so I don't know if that looked any good. Burke, you got Expert at the Card Table? Yeah, it's a great book. It's not the greatest beginner book ever, I will say. Like, if you're just getting started out, it's going to be tough to read, potentially, and it may not be so useful. If you're more advanced or you want to get some historical context, it's great. If you're just starting out and you want a book to read, Card College Volume 1, through my affiliate link in the descriptions of my videos. Thanks. All right, let's see. How often do I change decks, asks Vladimir. For me, every day or two, sometimes every 3 days, but pretty frequently, sometimes multiple decks a day. Yeah, but when you're starting out, maybe once a week, you don't need to open new decks that frequently. Okay, thoughts on card tricks based on mathematical principles. They're fine, just they have to be disguised so they don't feel like a math trick. They have to be disguised with some psychological subtleties or sleight of hand so that it doesn't just feel like math. Otherwise, it's not going to feel magical. Okay, let's see. Strike second dealing, not doing the push-off, or do you switch from one to the other? I do both strikes and push-off second deals. So, here's a strike, Ace of Hearts on top. So these are strikes, and these are push-offs. Having to kind of make sure they look okay. So these are all push-off seconds. So I do both. I do strikes and I do push-offs. So hopefully those look all right. Dealing just consecutive seconds is not really that impressive. It's much more about being able to deal them alternately and switch between tops and seconds whenever you need to. Alrighty, let's see. Am I going to go back on Penn and Teller? I don't know. I have some other ideas that I'll submit to the show if they keep doing it, which I think they will. It's a great show. So I have some other ideas I'll submit, and maybe I can fool them. We'll see. Yeah, I know the plugs. Shameless, right? But I hate promoting myself. It feels so disgusting, but I have to do it. Have I ever cheated at card games with my friends when I first learned how to manipulate cards? Yeah, once or twice. Not for money, but just for fun. But yeah. They kind of knew that I was going to do that anyway. Okay. Soggy Milk asks, congrats, Daniel. I performed the easy card trick for my friend, and we both loved it. What's a good next step from there for someone who's still new to Magic? Card College Volume 1, or maybe a Royal Road to Card Magic? And that should answer someone else's questions you asked. Yes, I love Royal Road. So, Card College Volume 1 or Royal Road, and I will make some more tutorial videos soon. Okay, can I manipulate any deck that's handed to me? Yes. I don't really do any prep work with the cards. I don't, file them down or anything. They're just cards. No cards don't give me paper cuts. I don't think that's ever happened. They're too thick to do that. Burke, that's the whole point, is you know what's happening, but you just can't see it. Favorite 4-Ace production? Let me think about that for a second. Hey, Shosho. Yes, I've been live for 2 hours. Why not, right? Okay, favorite 4-Ace production. All at once or one at a time? That's the question. Let's do... I'm going to do a video on this soon. Let me think. Yeah, I'll do this one. Yeah, I'll do it this way. Okay. Favorite, let me see. How about this? Just move the card to the right position. Okay. So favorite 4-Ace production. I don't know if this is my favorite, but it is something I've been kind of getting a kick out of recently. So here goes. See if I can make this work. Give the cards some shuffles and cuts like this. So it's not going to look flashy, but it's a bit of a nuanced technique. So there's one. Give the cards another shuffle. And notice that these are legitimate strip cuts. The cards are legitimately squared. Cards are once again legitimately shuffled together. And then I simply reach in and dead cut to another ace. That's 2. All right, let's see if I can get 3. Here's 3. And here's 4. Let's do one more. All right, I may have missed. We're going to find out. Let's see if I missed. I don't know. 3 down, 1 to go. Here goes. One more, and here's the last one. All right, so just kind of, there's an interesting strip cut sequence in there that I've been practicing recently. Someone asked, what am I practicing these days? I'll show you what I've been practicing. You open up a new deck of cards. This is Madden. Do you think you need to gamble, or have gambled quite a bit to present gambling routines? No, you don't. Gambling routines are not actually about gambling. They're about the fantasy of gambling, and they're about the stories behind gambling. If you show people how you actually cheat at cards, it's pretty boring. But if you show people the fantasy fun version of it, where you talk about the philosophy or the history or whatever, that's a lot more interesting. So, no, you don't need to have gambled. But you do need to know about card games enough. Or, if you're presenting yourself as a gambling protection expert, you better know a lot about card games. I'm not a gambling protection expert, and I don't present myself as one. I make videos about the stories about gambling, and some fun tidbits about gambling. Can't even talk. The history, the philosophy, and that's something I know a lot about. But I'm not, a gambling protection expert, and I don't pretend to be. Okay, something I've been practicing recently. These cards are in new deck order. Watch me miss on stream again. That'd be fun. All right, going to give these some shuffles. Haven't actually practiced this for a few days, so that's always fun. A few more cuts. Give these another shuffle like this. A few more cuts like this. And this is a control of the Ace of Hearts. I'll do it one more time. Ace of Hearts on top. You can see it gets shuffled into the deck. Give the card some cuts as well. Another shuffle like this. And a few more cuts. dead cut to the Ace of Hearts again. But it's not just the Ace of Hearts. It's actually a full deck control. That's every single card in numerical order. So that's something I've been working on recently, that specific sequence. It's out of the 40 books. That was a little sloppy the way I just did it. I can be a little more nuanced than that. But so if anyone knows the books and is like, that was meh, I agree. That was kind of meh. But that's something I've been working on recently. I'm just not consistent enough with it yet. I miss sometimes. Okay, hint to how I did the ace trick. Nope, sorry. Let's see. Let's see, what else? Do I do raise rise? Not anymore. Practiced it when I was younger. Haven't done it in like 8 years, and I kind of pulled a muscle in my hand a few days ago, so I'm not gonna do that right now. Can you define dead cut if it's not too big of a secret? Oh, dead cut just means to reach into the deck with one hand and then cut to a card. That's all that dead cutting is. It means you're not cutting from two hands or not cutting, like this. It means you're just reaching in and cutting to a card. That's all that means. Okay, recommendations on mats. Patrick Przaski, his company called like Patrick's Magical Mats. Patrick's spelled Patrick. Love them. That's what this is. Green plush or green spectral are my favorites. You can email him. They're a little more pricey. Don't get the bag he offers. It's not worth it. But they are fantastic and they'll last a really long time. Favorite deck? Tally-Ho Blue Fanbacks. Favorite book? Designing Miracles by Darwin Ortiz. Let's see. What else? Can you do tricks with your weak hand just to challenge yourself? Alright, sure. I'm right-handed, which means when I do like a bottom deal, I do it with half the deck for this. When I do a bottom deal, I do it with my left hand. I hold the cards in my left hand and I deal with my right hand, right? Because that is obviously how I learned to do it. Or how I didn't learn to do it when I'm not paying attention. Jesus, missing all over the place today. Yes, I do teach beginners. I give lessons. If you want to take lessons, contact me on my website, danielroymagic.com/booking. Okay, someone asked about doing something right-handed. I'm going to attempt to do a bottom deal the other way around. So I typically do a bottom deal this way. I'm going to try to do the bottom deal this way. This is not going to work. So here we go. And I'm sure someone's going to take a video of this and be like, wow, this guy sucks at false dealing. 4, 5, here we go. All right, this is kind of hilarious. Hey, there we go. All right, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yay! 4 aces. Okay, that was the worst bottom deal in history. That was awful. That was pretty funny. Let's do this properly. Here we go. This is what it's supposed to look like. So anyway, that was stupid. Alright. Yeah, I know, my speed dropped by like half. Absolutely true. Charlie, I don't really have tips on that. There's no way I'd be able to teach that effectively there's no way I'd be able to teach that effectively in a live stream. So well, I'll probably not talk about it here, but good question though. Look in the mirror, use a mirror. That's the best thing I'd say. Okay. Magic Man Dan. Sometimes, yes. Burke, glad you had a blast. Thanks so much for tuning in. Wei Ming Shu, yes. Keep working on it and you'll get there. You'll at least get to my my right-handed version. Maybe you'll one day get to the left-hand version. Okay. What else? What kind of music do I like? Really like alternative music, like Glass Animals, that kind of thing. And then just often like 1 or 2 songs from most genres. Okay, Mike, I'm a fellow magician, part-time trained by Pop Hayden. I met you at the castle. Oh, well, thanks. Thanks for saying I'm an inspiration. That's really sweet. And glad you got to meet me at the castle. Yeah, that was fun. I loved performing there. What else? Favorite John Cosme, favorite false cut. This one. And what else? ROPS, any tips on how to structure and build a routine with proper pattern? So what you're going to do is you're basically going to do it for the wall a little while, speaking the way you normally would. You got to have to think about what you're going to talk about first. And you're going to do it, 3-4 times for the wall. Then you're going to record yourself doing it on video. And then you will have at that point, and when I say do it for the wall, I also mean you can have done it in some casual scenarios and just find out what you actually say. Then what you're going to do is you're going to record it at some point, because rather than writing a script and then memorizing it, you can first figure out what you naturally say and how you naturally speak, write that down, and then you can edit it and make the changes you might need to make. And then once you've done that, then you can, turn that into a script that you actually memorize. But you want to start from the way that you naturally speak to some extent. Okay, let's see. Will the stream stay up on my channel? Maybe. I also might make an edited down version of this and just post that as opposed to all of this, or maybe I'll leave the whole stream up. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, Max, that is very funny. Yes. Clint, do I prefer sitting down or standing up? Depends on the trick. For card table stuff, usually seated. For 3-card Monty, I'll often stand, but when I'm on video, I have to sit because if I stand, I go out of the frame. So, yeah. Q-Beast, you can find that in the Annotated Erdnase by Darwin Ortiz. You can also find it in Steve Forte's books. Daniel, asking about the pass. No. It can be done invisibly. I've seen it done invisibly, but it's very rare that it ever is. I've only seen one I've very rarely seen it done, but there's some people who do it. So that's really all I can say there. Victor, expert at the card Erdnase, or the Erdnase one out of expert at the card table, but I handle it a little bit differently. So that's what I'd say. All right, Claps leaving. Thanks so much. Hope you enjoyed. ROP, how do you practice and new sleights while you keep up old ones? Well, you just have to do the old ones just enough to maintain your skills while working on new ones. That's really all there is to it. Okay, let's see. John, thanks. Glad you enjoyed the stream. Glad it was fun. Justin, do I hang around other magicians and card mechanics? Not that much. I'm not super duper... I don't know, I'm just not super invested in the Magic community. There's some, really great people, and I know a number of them well, but I've never, so much of the Magic community is concentrated in Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and New York, and I've never lived in any of those cities permanently, which means it's been tough for me to integrate in that sense. Let's see, Joe, exotic, is mayonnaise an instrument? I don't know, maybe? All right, what else? Favorite deck? These. And yep, F-Soid, glad you enjoyed. Take care. Is there an estimate on the release date of your beginner course? Ask ATTJ. Yeah, I don't know. I have the whole course planned out. I filmed a bunch of prototypes, but I have to actually film the real videos. It'll probably be through Patreon, and it'll be a subscription type thing where there's a core set of videos, and then I make a new video each month. I do some members-only live streams where I will answer questions, things like that. But I wouldn't want to post it until there's a real content in there for people to sign up for. Okay, what exactly would a private lesson look like? Teaching tricks or giving tips? Charlie, I have a kind of guided curriculum. I figure out where people are. I watch them do a trick to assess where they're at with their card handling. We typically then fix some of the fundamental issues if there are any, and then we move on based on what their interests are. So if you're interested, just shoot me an email or contact me at my website. In the description of all my videos. Okay, Magic Man Dan, can you build a routine using commercially produced magic props and gimmicks? Theoretically, can you? Yeah, theoretically. Can I? Will I? I don't know, maybe. But theoretically, yes. Alexi, that was really cool, but gotta go. Good night. Oh, thanks so much. Glad you enjoyed. What else? Let's see. Who else? Okay. Max, yep. Glad I answered your question. Meepcar, glad you enjoyed the story on that video. And then, what do you think of a concept of big motion hiding a smaller motion? Daniel Carpio asks. Okay, so, good question. It's useful for covering the tells of a move. It's not a great thing where you're trying to actually cover a move, because even if you move really fast, if there's some otherwise visible move happening, like you could see the cards moving or whatever in the way they're not supposed to, that's bad. But if there's some unavoidable finger motion associated with a certain movement, yes, a larger action can help to cover that. That's what I'd say about it. Useful sometimes, but not always. Clint asked, what classes did I take at UPenn that I enjoyed? Anything that bolstered your magic experiences? Well, yeah, I mean, neurobiology certainly helped. Took a lot of that. I'd say some, philosophy classes were interesting. Some of the humanities literature classes were also interesting. I really liked, there's this class called Troy stories instead of toy stories, where you read like the Iliad, the Aeneid, and all that jazz. I enjoyed that. Andy, tally-ho fanbacks. Blue. That's what they're called. Malcolm asks, are you able to dead cut to a specific spot in the deck? If so, how sensitive do your fingers have to be able to do that? Kind of depends what you mean by a specific spot. There's a video I'll be putting out fairly soon that may answer your question, so keep an eye out for that. SH, yeah, I've been doing the Pharaoh for years, so I've been doing that a lot. This is Matt, and glad you enjoyed the stream, and take care. Justin, is it tough to make a living with magic? I don't really know yet. I haven't been in magic very long, so I can probably answer that question in 5 or 10 years. Koi, can you do a straddle grip for a bottom deal? I've learned how to do it, but it's not the ideal grip. You want to start with an Erdnase bottom deal grip and then progress eventually to a mechanics grip if you want to. What do I do with old cards? Do you use them for anything after they are too worn? If there's a trick where I have to tear up cards or something like that, then yeah, then I'll use those. But I also practice with really beat up cards sometimes, just to stay sharp. Daniel, how often are dead cuts truly dead cuts? Sometimes. Max, have I ever created a trick that exists already by accident? Yes. In fact, the majority of the time that I've created a trick, I find out then that it already existed. Then I have to go back to the drawing board. Nothing's new under the sun. Everything has been done before is always a safe assumption. How many decks do you think I opened to this day? Asks Sean Rubian. Literally thousands and thousands and thousands. Maybe not 10,000, but at least many thousands. Charlie, advice on original routines. Well, read the book Steal Like an Artist by Austin Kleon. It tells you a lot of really interesting things about creativity. And ultimately, creativity isn't about just sitting there and coming up with new ideas. It's about iterating on previously had ideas from other people and also combining other ideas that have never been combined before. Magic Man Dan asks, how many tricks should a beginner be doing in a set, and do you do a routine or do you just freestyle? It entirely depends on the length of your set. When you're just getting started out, aim for like a 15 or so minute set. 3, 4, 5 tricks in there is probably good. Yeah, maybe 5 tricks in 10 to 20 minutes. That's a decent length to get started with. Charlie, it's called Steal Like an Artist by Austin Kleon. Kleon spelled Kleon. Great book. And then let's see. Okay, what was your favorite performance you've ever done? Maybe my Magic Castle performance. I'm really proud of that one. I really like how that one went. Penn and Teller was obviously very cool, but that's so specific to TV. And the Magic Castle performance is ultimately, that's what I love doing. That's my favorite ideal performance environment. Okay, let's see. Which type of magic do you prefer to beginner? Oh, like what would I recommend for a beginner? Asks Lu Kim Hoi. Basic sleight-of-hand card magic. I would say watch my video called Easy Magic Trick. That's what I'd recommend. Okay, recommended book for card sleights and good routines for an experienced magician. I'd watch my video called How to Learn Magic. I give a lot of sources for more advanced sleight of hand in there, and I think you'll get something out of it. It's about halfway through the video where I start talking about that. Okay, how did I get over nerves? Just perform a lot, and you'll get over them. Also, being really confident in the material you're performing, knowing that you can handle every situation, everything's scripted and worked out, and you've practiced a lot. That's how you feel confident. Jay, yes, I'm still streaming. It's been fun. This is my first real stream I've ever done. It's been a good time. Okay, Ghost, in terms of how long have I been in Magic? I've been doing Magic, for 15 years. I haven't been a professional for very long, so I can answer lots of questions about being a magician, but not all that many about what's it like to be a professional. Give me 5 or 10 years. Exploring Space. Hi, Daniel. Hi, Exploring Space. Let's see. Anthony, would you recommend coming up with your own tricks or just learning a series of beginner tricks? Learn early tricks. Just imitate people you like, find tricks you like doing, and just learn them the way someone else is doing them. With time, then you can start to invent your own stuff. But you don't want to let creativity get in the way of just starting to learn. So start with emulation and then move on to creativity. All right, Max asks, how would you answer this question? Well, I have to, wait on the question itself because Favorite book by Di Vernon or Ed Marlowe? Revelation by Di Vernon. I love the history in it. I like his notes on. I really like his notes on Erdnase. Maybe my favorite. Ed Marlowe. Ed Marlowe is much more of a technician who would publish like all of his ideas. So Revolutionary Card Technique, if you're going to read some Marlowe, that's what I'd recommend. But treat it like a reference text. And again, I wouldn't say it's top of my priorities. Stepan, first Ortiz book. Depends if you want theory. I mean, basically all of them. Read Strong Magic and Designing Miracles in that order, and then read them again. For the card books, my favorites are Card Shark and Lessons in Card Mastery. Exploring Space. What is my favorite card routine? Probably 3-card Monty or the closer that I do with the Magic Castle. Basically, my Magic Castle performance. Those are my favorite routines. Digitalis. Glad you like the videos. Thank you. For Victor Jacob, I prefer Card College. Maybe that's just because that's how I learned, but I do think that slightly more modern approach is a little better. It's a little easier to read. Okay. If you could do only one for the rest of your life, visual card tricks or sequential card tricks? Charlie, I don't know what you mean by sequential card tricks, so you'll have to define that. Magic Man Dan, favorite magicians, Darwin Ortiz, Ricky J, Darren Brown. Gotta be honest, this is completely unrelated to magic, but do you have any hobbies you do when you're not doing magic? Purified Sand. Yes, I like photography. That's fun. I like reading. I play some video games here and there. Video games, reading, photography, making videos, obviously. Those are some of my other hobbies. Charles, best context? I don't really know what you mean. Just make sure the trick is not only based off of that move. Make sure there are other things going on, because it's too easy to intuit that move. Okay, which sleight of hand have you learned that's the most difficult? Probably the center deal or riffle stacking. Do I keep the same grip for second, bottom, Greek, center? They all come from a mechanics grip, but they are all slightly different mechanics grips. Some people will say, oh, you have to do them all from the same grip. First of all, for a lay audience won't notice if you change grips between an Erdnase or a mechanics grip or whatever. They just won't, trust me. Secondly, card sheets don't use the same grip for all their deals, because on a given night they only use one type of false deal. You learn each deal in the grip that is best for it, and then eventually you can start trying to make them look more similar, or at least make the transitions between grips less obvious. But work on making the deal itself look the best. Worry about making all the grips look the same later. Let's see. Any deck can be used, AMG, Essex, but you should probably use and practice with bicycle cards. That'll make your life easier. Tommy J, I take lessons from Daniel, and if you're playing with the idea of doing that, I can recommend it. Extremely helpful. Thank you for the endorsement, Tommy J. Tommy's a student of mine. He's really fantastic. He's made great progress so far. And if you want to take lessons, email me on my website. Woo! Shameless plug. Once again. Blech. Okay, let's see. What do you suggest to beginners if they mess up a trick? Have some outs ready. Have a trick that you know you can do well every time, and always have that in the back pocket as like, if everything else goes wrong, just go and do that trick and call it a night. That's what I recommend. And then let's see. Strong Magic changed my view on effects completely, says Japan. Yes, me too. Absolutely. Euros, what video games do you play? Big fan of The Witcher 3, Last of Us Part 2. Bit controversial, but I liked it. It worked for me, although I understand why some people didn't like it. Enjoyed those. And what else? Played a lot of Guild Wars 2 when I was younger. Obviously, I think I played some RuneScape when I was really little. But I'd say that those are the games I've played the most. Oh, Horizon Zero Dawn. Yeah. Okay, what else? Keepa, hi from Sri Lanka. Hello. How do you know when a deck is worn out? When the cards start sticking together and they don't move for move for the techniques that you're working on. Okay, how do you realize? Justin asks, when did you realize I can really take this somewhere? Probably the So what happened is I never really thought I wanted to take Magic seriously, like as a potential career, so. I then was booked to perform at the Magic Lounge in Chicago and the Magic Castle in LA at back to back, which meant I did 33 shows in 11 days, because at the Magic Lounge you do 5 shows in 3 days, and then at the Magic Castle you do 28 shows in 7 days. You do 4 shows a night, And I thought I would hate it. I thought I would hate that performing density, and it turns out I loved it. And it was loving that so much that got me to really reconsider. Okay, how long does it take to go from beginner to go pro, sleight of hand wise? Hard to say. Depends what you mean by pro. To being able to do great magic for people that they'll enjoy, a few years of consistent practice. To be able to do super advanced gambling sleight of hand, a decade maybe. Yeah, you don't have to be able to do the advanced gambling stuff to be a good magician, not at all. Okay, Magic the Gathering, never played it. I played a little Yu-Gi-Oh when I was a little kid, but never really got into Magic the Gathering. I hear it's a great game though. Victor Jacob loved Guild Wars 2, so did I. And yeah, Witcher 3 was great. Okay, next target, consistent videos every week. Online course in sleight of hand. Might start posting stuff to Instagram and stuff, more like little clips of my YouTube videos. Daniel, Apple versus Microsoft, trying to start a war here. Well, I've used both extensively. I have Macs. I built my own gaming desktop, so PC Master Race, and also generally I edit in Final Cut Pro, and everyone in my family has iPhones, so it kind of ties me to Apple in that way. So right now, I'd say I use both. For most of my everyday stuff, iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Mac. For gaming, PC. That's kind of how I'd say it. Okay, and then let's see. Can anyone do card magic? Charlie, different people progress at different rates. And they even progress at different rates for different moves. However, I do believe that everyone can achieve a really high level of expertise. I don't think that there's really any limit to what you can accomplish. I really don't. Okay, what do you do when the deck starts sticking? Sean, you open a new deck. Or you lighten up with your pressure a little bit. What's the worst thing I've seen on Omegle? Definitely can't say that on a stream. Don't go on Omegle. Never go on Omegle. It's gross. Don't do it. Okay, what do you think of Shin Lim? Love the work he does. He's made magic into an expressive form of performance art rather than a kind of verbal one. And I think it's a great innovation on his part, and it works really well. He's great. Okay, let's see. Uwu. Will we see more ASMR? I don't know. Here we go. Hopefully that was that satisfying? I like ASMR, I just don't think I'm good at it at all. How long do I practice magic in a day? Well, these days I don't practice, in a super dedicated way, like regimented or anything. Shijo, what's my next subscriber goal? More. Just more. I don't know. I don't really control how many people subscribe to my channel, so just I hope people keep watching my videos. That's the main thing. Okay, but I was saying something about practicing. Oh, yeah. So I just, I don't practice in a super regimented way. I just handle cards whenever I feel like it these days. Okay, Charlie, thanks so much. Glad you enjoyed. And Just Gaming. How do you get better at card stacking and mechanics? You just practice it, but you want good sources. Everything by Steve Forte, Jason England's Foundation series, Expert at the Card Table, Richard Turner's videos, Darwin Ortiz's videos, Darwin Ortiz's books. That's what I'd recommend. Okay. Yeah, it was, Omegle was fun to film on, but yeah, boy, there's a lot of stuff you see on there. Card exercises to help practice. I don't know if I do all that much in the way of exercises. You really just practice the things you need to learn. Sean, some people do card ASMR. There's this channel called Jojo who does it. He does it really well. He kind of has the monopoly on that, I think. It's not really my thing. But he's great at it. He's really great. I just wanted to make one video about it for fun. Okay, let's see. No, I don't really do much cardistry, mostly card table, sleight of hand. Biggest card house I've ever built. Maybe a few stories tall, not that much. There's a great video on Wired about this guy who is a world champion card house builder, and that's where I learned how to do it. You build in squares, not in triangles. It's really interesting. Okay, how do you get the motion smoother when you're doing shuffling and stuff? Okay, so exploring space. I'm actually going to work on it. That's a video idea I've had about how to handle cards more smoothly. The thing is, you practice these actions in discrete steps, right? And then Once you can do all the individual steps, you then have to start learning how to blend them together. And you blend the edges of the actions together, and that's something that's really important to learn how to do. Also, consistent tempo, or languid tempo, or tempo that ramps up and down rather than having big jerks in it. That's important. And then also, there are certain hand positionings that just inherently look more elegant, and I may make a video about all that. Okay, let's see. Top false cuts. I like this one. I think this is the best one to learn first. I'd start with that one. Another favorite is this one. So that's what I'd recommend. Okay, good way to start doing virtual shows. Honestly, I mean, I don't really know what the best answer is. You got to just do them for some family and friends. Yeah, I mean, I don't, I'd love to be able to give you some advice, but I don't think anything I can say here will necessarily be super duper helpful. Oh yeah, exploring space. That's a great idea. I should do a video on script writing. I'm going to write that down. Thank you. Let me put this down. Video on script writing. Video and scripting. Good. There we go. Okay. Where were we? Nope, wrong app. Here we go. Okay. All right. Let me think. Do I ever use deck switches, Sledgesmith? Yes. Who do you think is the greatest card magician? Hard to say. My favorites are Ricky J, Darwin Ortiz, and Juan Tamariz, and I mean card mechanic-wise, Steve Forte, and overall performing-wise, also Darren Brown. Let's see. Although he did start as a card magician. So Wes, I'm sorry. I don't know if I really have like super good advice here. You just have to find some friends and people to do it for. Think about ways that you can engage your audience and make them real helpful participants in the show beyond just saying, call stop as I go through. What ways can you get them invested and involved in the tricks? I realize I'm being vague, but I don't want to like spoil your ability to be creative here, so I'm trying to leave it open-ended, but there's no way to get to do it without just starting to do it for friends and family. I wish I had more helpful advice there, but I don't necessarily know if I have much that's helpful to say here. Most validating performance. Good question. I'd say the Magic Castle one was pretty validating. I don't know if it's not the best reaction I've ever gotten, but it's, it was a good fun crowd. And I think what was validating about it is being able to watch it back later and being able to put it on the internet and get some nice feedback. So maybe that was it. Okay, tips for people with super dry hands. Hand lotion. I use this stuff. It works well, doesn't get the cards too greasy. It's Aveeno Daily Moisturizing Lotion, the green and beige kind. They have other colored bottles. Don't get those, the green and beige. Okay, Max. I have never seen anyone I've never seen anyone do a really convincing bottom deal in anything less than like 6 months to a year. I mean, it just doesn't happen. There's so much nuance. People have done it an okay one in a short amount of time, but to really look convincing, never seen that in less than 6 months to a year, and even that is really a fast amount of time to be able to do it well. Okay, Nathan, do a second bottom deal. Wait, a second to bottom deal? Do you mean doing a second deal and a bottom deal, or are you talking about dealing the second card to the bottom, which is a Greek deal? Guess I can do a Greek deal, because I haven't done one yet on stream. Why not? Okay, here we go. Ian, yes. Juan Tamariz's. Look up, get his book, Juan Tamariz. Do I often get compared to Harry Potter? Literally every other comment on my videos. James, I don't really want to talk about that on this stream. I just don't think I can go into enough depth on that topic without giving too much away. But if you watch my Magic Castle video, you'll see a lot of it in there, and that is my preferred way of doing it. So you can see it there. Okay, Nathan, you mean a Greek deal. All right, let's do a Greek deal. I haven't done this for a while. This should be hilarious. Okay, so the bottom deal is where you deal the bottom card. But often in games of cards, they'll use something that's called a cut card, which means the aces are on the bottom, but they'll put the whole deck on top of a cut card, which means if I tried to do a bottom deal now, I would end up dealing the second card from the bottom, right? So here is a Greek deal. So aces are on the bottom of the deck, and the whole deck gets dropped on top of this card here. So the aces are pinned in. And here goes. I'll deal a five-handed game. There we go. Almost missed dealing a top card. Alright, cut card is still there, but you'll notice the aces are gone because they are now in my hand. So there's a Greek deal. Yeah, Max, there's a difference between being able to do it so that it, works versus someone can stare at your hands from this far away and they can't tell whether or not you're doing a bottom deal. Very, very different levels. Yeah, absolutely. But that's great that you've made some progress in a week. That's great. Dealing the aces from a shuffle deck, live performance, Ian. Okay. I don't quite know what you mean by that. By what kind of shuffle deck you're talking about. You can do a Greek deal with those face up as well. So aces are face up, still pinned in by a card. Here we go. All right. Nope. Hold on. There they are. 4 aces. Cut card. Totally pinned in place. Here we go. All right. So this is a Greek deal done face up. Anyway, that's a Greek deal. Okay, let's see, Max. I see what you mean. Yeah, if you put in a lot of time, Max, you'll make good progress. That's absolutely true. Okay, will I ever cosplay as Harry? I guess I kind of do unintentionally every day based on all the comments I get, but I don't think so. GN4RK, hello to you. Vladimir, do you have advice on misdirection for beginners and intermediate magicians? You need to give people an ostensible motivation, like turn over this card here. People will look at that. I would read Strong Magic and Designing Miracles if you want to learn more about that. Both books by Darwin Ortiz. Did I ever use my skills in a game, asks CDR. Not for money. I just, once in a while when playing cards for fun with friends, I'll, throw in a move here and there just for fun. But, yeah, not in any serious way. Because it's no fun. Okay, just gaming. How do you set so many cards in certain spots when riffling cards? Well, that's riffle stacking. And I talk about it. I have a video where I talk about stacking the deck, and I explain some of the technique in there. So that's what I'd look at. Hero, yes, I saw the video of XQC reacting to 10 levels. He only made it through 4 levels, which is hilarious. But I really enjoyed. XQC is a really big Twitch streamer, and he reacted to my 10 levels of sleight-of-hand video on stream, which was super funny. And I love that. Okay, let's see. I am 24, to whoever's asking. SH Magic Tricks, I'm 24. Joseph, glad I inspire you to do magic. That's great. And then let's see. Classic Bicycle or Thin Crushed. Is your name pronounced Nguyen? Is it Win? I've heard it pronounced both of those ways. I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. But Classic Bicycle or Thin Crushed? Classic Bicycle for me. I really think that's all you need. Yeah, Max. 7 months. That's a great amount of time. Yeah, that's a good amount of time to put in. Okay, Exploring Space. What is the book you recommend to the best magic book with a lot of tricks in it? For beginners, Card College Volume 1. Gambling Sleight of Hand, maybe Darwin Ortiz's Card Shark or Lessons in Card Mastery. For theory, Designing Miracles and Strong Magic. Do I do warm-up exercises before I perform tricks, Stanley? Not really, although if I got a big performance coming up, then I'll do a rehearsal of at least certain parts of the act just to make sure my hands are in good shape. But I don't really do much warming up. Let's see, what is the castle like? Are they? The castle's a really cool environment. It's got these super velvety walls and everything. It's really cool. It's a really cool kind of location to be in. That's what I'd say. How was it being on Penn and Teller's show? Super fun. They treat you so well. I had a blast, and it was great. Sean, I've done a little bit of the TikTok stuff. I really feel like it's just not my strength. The longer form stuff is more my strength, but I may chop up my YouTube videos into little clips and put some on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. Okay, Shijo, what's the most creative way you've destroyed a deck of cards? Well, sometimes when I do stuff where, like on my Foolist bit, where I'm like eating a piece of a card and then actually swallowing it, I think that's up there certainly. CDR, thanks. I'm glad you liked the live Q&A. Okay, just gaming. Yeah, it takes a lot of practice. It's pretty hard to teach. But I have taught it to some students, but it's riffle stacking is hard. Get Jason England's Foundations Volume 2. He teaches riffle stacking on that. It's great. Okay, Thomas Cooper says, I look more like Elijah Wood. Yeah, I get that too all the time. Okay, yeah, Brandon is for. I actually did make a video on book resources. It's called How to Learn Magic. Yeah, that's where I have all my book recommendations. Let's see. Oh, GN4RK learned the trick from your video and showed it to my girlfriends and coworker, and they loved it. So happy to hear. Thank you. Yeah, exploring space. I may. Okay, Hugh Nguyen. Okay, Hugh. I hope I'm pronouncing your last name. Is it Nguyen or is it Win? Because I've heard it pronounced both ways. But Hugh. Hopefully, I'm saying that correctly. Yeah, exploring space. Maybe do a Q&A every month or something. I might do something like that. Okay. Do I do other magic other than cards? Well, in person, yeah, I do some mentalism, but on YouTube, mostly cards. Let's see. Favorite place to perform magic? Magic Castle was pretty cool. Magic Lounge was really cool. I like the stage at Penn and Teller. That was fun. Okay, would you recommend learning more psychological forces rather than sleight-of-hand forces? I'd recommend learning them both, but start with the sleight-of-hand ones. Okay, James, you're asking for a fun, ambitious card routine. Got a video about that that'll be coming up, so I'll save it for that. But something about that coming up soon. Sledge, I do Jason England's center deal. I made some modifications to make it work in my hands, but I'd recommend checking out Foundations Volume 1 for Jason England's center deal. Pedro, best place to learn the call? In private lessons with me. No, I do teach it, but Coach Kimlat does a different style of spread call than what I do, but he teaches it very, very well. And it looks great in his hands. So if you're looking for a DVD, try that. I teach a different version of it that looks that I prefer, but yeah, Coach's is great. Exploring Space, love Shinlim's work. I think he does really, really creative stuff with the magic and music combinations. So yeah, no, I love his stuff. Koi, what's your favorite steel? Maybe the Palate palm change. That might be my favorite steel. Something like that. Okay, Wes, just go on my website, which is danielroymagic.com/booking, and you can contact me there. That's where you can contact me. I'm just gonna put it in the chat. danielroymagic.com/booking. Anyway. Oh, it highlighted my name. That's hilarious. You can copy that, paste that in. Gosh, I can't speak. Okay, favorite palm for small hands, Graphic World, Gambler's Cop, top palm. Unless your hands are truly, truly tiny, then you can palm. Okay, let's see. Charles Arnold asks, favorite control and candy bar. Probably Midnight Dark Chocolate Milky Ways, and favorite control spread call. Okay, let's see. Exploring Space. What is the book you recommend to be the best magic book with lots of card tricks? For beginners, Card College Volume 1. For more advanced, I'd say Darwin Ortiz's card books. Card Shark, Lessons in Card Mastery are my favorites of his. And then let's see. Ashley Thompson. I want you to learn an easy magic trick and I'm trying it, but I keep holding on to too many cards when I try the drop at the end. Am I only touching the 3? What else would I be doing wrong? Maybe about the pressure that you're exerting. Too much pressure, and especially if your fingers curl around the edge here, you may hold on to more cards. So make sure that your skin is really only touching these 3 cards, like this, and then you just do a sharp toss with just enough pressure to hold on to those cards. So, that's what I'd say. Okay. Yes, Max, riffle stacking. People often struggle with the concept, so Jason England's books are great. Or videos, I should say, are great. Okay, Chester, once you practice enough, your hands tend to memorize certain grips and pressure, like memory foam. Would you agree? Absolutely. That's a really great description of it. And Charles, I already answered that question. Daniel asks thoughts on Daryl. I'm so sad that he passed away, but man, the news about that did not do a good job portraying what had actually happened. It really not well covered. But anyway, like the first few articles that came out had a lot of misinformation in them. But man, he was incredible. He's a huge inspiration to me, and I'm sure many others. I'm a big admirer of his work, and so sad I never got to meet him. How long does the deck usually last before it is no longer usable for sleights? Depends. For super advanced false deals, riffle stacking, all that, sometimes a few hours, although I can do them with beat-up decks. It's just they're ideal with new cards. For more self-working stuff, I mean, to some extent, never. But when you're learning Magic, don't make yourself use super beat-up cards. Get some bicycle cards from, Costco, Amazon, or whatever, and practice with those. Let's see. What is the best, Joseph, best force? Well, again, I'm not going to go too much into techniques, but I'm a big fan of Hofzinser's underspread force, and also the crosscut one as well. But I don't want to go into too much depth there. Win. Okay, great. Glad I'm saying your name. Okay, win. Cool. You say big holes between your long fingers when palming. You need to find the right way of curling each finger to cover up the windows. Again, I'm just going to give that's really the only tip I'll mention here, but just find the right amount of curl and twist of your fingers that covers the windows. It'll happen with time. Like, it will just almost happen on its own eventually, but keep practicing. Okay, we've been heavily affected by Magic. I really like seeing good people like Daniel. Thank you so much, SH Magic. Wes, are you an Office fan? Oh, like the show? Actually, I'm not a big TV person. Really not a big TV person. So I don't really know much about the show. I enjoy clips from it, but I don't think I've ever really gotten into watching the show. Hero. Cardini change, getting 2 cards instead of 1. I'd have to see you do it, so I really can't give you advice to know one way or the other. But just so you can see what it looks like that. So, there you go. Okay, Jay, not something I'm going to go into on this stream, but I will talk about in my online course in sleight of hand that I'm working on. Same Pedro, that's where I'll cover that question. Graphic World favorite prediction routine. Well, mystery cards are nice. They're not strictly speaking prediction routines because they don't follow logic. They follow more dreamlike logic. But I do like mystery cards where the prediction ends up with a signature on it. Psychotronic card by Darwin Ortiz, love that, and that's definitely a favorite. Okay, what's the answer when people ask me to reveal the secret? I say, isn't that a nice question? Or that's the question of the hour. A Sharky, can I tell you a riddle? Sure, go for it. What's the riddle? Just keep it PG. Is it possible to do perfect pharaohs with worked-in cards? What about riffle stacking? John, depends how beat up the cards are. As long as the edges are not splitting apart, yeah, for the most part. But once the edges start splitting apart, yeah, good luck. Max, how silently can you slip cut? Are you the thing with slip cut in most moves are like you just don't want them to be a clunk. You just want them to sound like the cut they're supposed to be mimicking. That's all. Who inspired you to get into Magic? I saw a guy do a card trick like ambitious card like 2 inches from my face when I was 10, and I fell in love. John Chase, EDC. You're gonna have to tell me what that acronym means. Maybe I'm missing something. Hema. That's a complicated question. I will teach it in my online course in sleight of hand. I mean, that would take me 30 minutes to answer. So it's tricky. Favorite way to get rid of hecklers? Well, Wes, most of the time when you encounter a, quote, heckler, they're not actually a heckler. A heckler is someone who's trying to ruin your performance and take all the attention for themselves intentionally. A Sharky asks, what can you hold? What can you hold in your right hand but not your left? Your left hand? Anyway, going back to hecklers. However, if you do encounter someone who's really, really giving you a hard time, and it's clearly they're just trying to steal the attention for themselves, don't give them the attention. What they want, it's like a bully in school. They want attention, and if you don't give it to them, they'll stop. If someone messes up the instructions you give them, that's not their fault. It means that you didn't give them good enough or clear enough instructions. Veronica, I've been doing Magic for like 15 years almost, since I was like 10. Thanks for tuning into the live stream. My audience, I realize I'm making an assumption here that may be incorrect, but my audience is currently 97% male. It was previously 98.8% male, according to my Google Analytics. So we're moving towards some slightly better diversity here. So, yeah, I don't know. There's no reason that Magic should only be interesting to guys. I mean, I think maybe the community can be a little unwelcoming at times, but there's really no reason that should be the case. And so I really hope that Magic will diversify in a lot of senses. I think that's super important. So let's see. Justin, how do I see the future of Magic in 10 years? Well, I hope it becomes more diverse. It really needs that. It needs new perspectives. It needs more people. It needs people to not be scared of joining the community. That's critically important. So I see that as important. I don't know what's going to happen with the virtual stuff. No clue. Hero, can I do the Joker pencil trick from The Dark Knight? No, because no, I don't think that's legal. Or good for anyone's hands. Okay, cool or funny stories from performing. Let me think. Well, this one guy once took out a false tooth and put it on the table during a show. That was a little weird. Okay, do I do cardistry, Hema? No, not really. Everyday carry. Oh, my iPhone, wallet, keys, AirPods, sometimes a deck of cards. I have a 3-card Monty set in my wallet. That's all. So, yeah, not much. Okay, let's see. A Sharky, left elbow. Okay, I was pretty close there. How to do those insanely fast, extremely precise shuffles. Dusto the one. I mean, I don't really know what shuffles you're talking about. If you're talking about riffle stacking and you want to learn it, get Jason England's Foundations Volume 2. He teaches it there way better than I ever could. Okay, novelty tricks. Daniel, I don't quite know what you mean by that question. How do I manage my studies and practice Magic? I would sort of alternate. During times when I'm really busy with schoolwork, I would not do much Magic. And when school wasn't that busy, I'd do more Magic. It's kind of how it worked. Max, you're asking, wait, I'm confused. When I do regular cuts, usually it's just lifting the cards and putting them under, so there's generally no sound. Yeah. So for most sleight-of-hand technique, you basically need to take the false action and make it look as good as possible. And then you need to take the real action, and once the false action is as good as it can be, make the real action look like it. So, if you're going to be doing a slip cut, you need to also be cutting like this from the top, so that when you then do a slip cut, it looks similar. Okay, let me see. What cards are the best for Ferro shuffles? Bicycle cards, doesn't really matter, as long as they're in decent condition. Michael Easler, do I have any female students? Yes. And could I teach Raise Rise? I haven't done it for years. I used to do it, but haven't done it for a long time. Let's see. Are you considering a custom deck? Yeah, maybe someday. I'd want to have more of an audience before I do that kind of thing. Yeah, I think that's I think that maybe someday. I've got some cool ideas that could make it interesting. John, favorite mnemonic stuff. Read Darwin Ortiz's book, Lessons in Card Mastery. I think, and also everything by Simon Aronson, but really Lessons in Card Mastery. The stuff in there is just amazing. Okay, Solo, can I make a video on shuffles and flourishes? I don't do much in the way of flourishes, but I do a lot of shuffling. I may make a video that, teaches like some basic flourishes, like a card spring, or, how to dribble the cards, or maybe how to do like a cascade or something, that kind of thing. Brandon is for, I think, on more diversity, bringing people into the community. Magic, yep, doing that today with your videos, especially with them showing up unrecommended. Yeah, I really hope so. I hope it's bringing in more people who wouldn't be, part of Magic. I mean, my audience is generally not people who are already magicians. My audience tends to be people who are interested in Magic, or maybe do a little bit of Magic themselves, or want to learn more about Magic, or just like watching Magic. That's who my intended audience is, and that's who seems to be watching my videos. So yeah, I think that's really important. Graphic World, force a blank card where asshole is written on it for the hecklers. Okay, that's pretty funny. Don't do that, but that is very funny. Let's see. Alrighty. A couple questions here I'm not going to answer. Let's see. Yeah, and Brandon, exactly. Some people are going to stick around, others won't. Chester, do I get anxious when palming? Not anymore. Used to when I was just getting started out. SH Magic Trick Tutorials, I want to buy your book. Well, I haven't written it. Well, I've not published a book. One of them it's mostly written. I've got pretty much a full draft of it ready. So maybe I'll trying to see if anyone's interested in publishing it. Exploring space, the latter option of what you just asked. Scriptic, am I friends with Chris Ramsey? I've met him before. I don't know him personally, really. I am in one of his videos, actually, from a few years ago. He made a video about the Magic Live convention where he went and videoed people doing magic tricks, and I do a center deal in that video, somewhere in the middle. Okay, let's see. Hey, what's up, Kim? Good to see you. Howdy, howdy, yes. All right. Let's see. Yes, Max, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Lu Kim Hoi, those are the same thing, in a sense. I mean, people have this misconception that, grips are only one thing. Dealing grip or mechanics grip, they're more or less synonyms. And these are families of grips. These are families of grips that have lots of different variations for different purposes. I often call it dealing grip just because I started learning from Card College, and that is the language that I learned. But sometimes I use mechanics grip. I use the terms interchangeably. Scriptic, I have absolutely no idea. Maybe in a few years or something like that, but I haven't even fully put it, I haven't really done, I haven't done any work on it other than just some, brainstorming. Someone asks, some people don't like gambling routines. How do you make it great magic or performance? Yeah, so, okay. The thing about gambling routines is that if they're done where it's just like, look at how I can cheat at cards, look at how I can cheat at cards, blah, 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 some people aren't going to be interested in that. If you want gambling routines to be interesting to people who aren't interested in gambling, you have to find a way to make it compelling outside of just look what I can do, right? There has to be a reason for it. Now, sometimes this means giving people enough context about the pretend card game in question that they're interested in it. Sometimes this means providing an interesting story. Sometimes this means having some interesting philosophy, or maybe you're playing some card game against them. I really think that if gambling routines are structured well, they are interesting and fun for people who have literally never gambled or played cards in their life before. You can give them all the necessary context if you script it well. Kim, yes, I've been streaming for 3 hours straight. I did not intend to do that. I was just like, I'll do an hour or so. But I honestly didn't know if anyone was going to show up. And, I've had between 80 to 150 people here at all times, which has been cool. So that's been fun. I've been getting really interesting questions from people. So that's why I've stuck around. It's been really fun so far. I'm getting some funny questions too. Okay. Where's my wallet? I lost it 3 weeks ago. No idea. Let's see. What kind of questions do people ask you that is kind of annoying? Well, I hear, can you make my wife disappear all the time? It's not annoying, but, everyone thinks it's their first time asking the question. But, of course, I've heard it a million times. SH Magic Trick Tutorials asks, I have no tattoos. Why are they so popular with magicians? I have no idea. I don't know. I don't have any tattoos. Maybe I'll get one someday, but it wouldn't be somewhere visible during a performance. Okay, can I do the Charlie Miller Cascade Control? I may have learned that years ago. I have not. I've not worked on that in a long time. Okay, and is it easier doing one-handed cuts for bigger hands? It is easier, but it doesn't really matter. I have pretty small hands, and I can do one-handed cuts just fine. So yeah. Okay. What do you do, Max, when you have to hold out for a long time? Is what Max was wondering. You need to find a natural resting position for your hands. They need to be in a position where they're either holding on to something, or you're doing something with your hands, or you're resting them in some way, or you're gesturing or something like that. You don't want to be in a situation where they're just kind of awkwardly hanging there, and you also need to eliminate tension from that whole side of your body. Okay, Charles Arnold, if you could be any kitchen utensil, which one would you be and why? I don't know. Let's see. Can you dead cut exactly half the deck on command? Well, for the Pharaoh Shuffle, yes. That's 26. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Script tip, can I send you decks and you can review them? Sure. DM me on Instagram if you actually want to send me cards. Totally into that. But seriously. Oh, you are? No way. So yeah, Scriptic, on Instagram I am at Daniel Roy Magic. DM me on Instagram. Yeah. So find me there, DM me, and we can talk. I'd love to do some deck reviews if you have cards you'd like to send me. I think that'd be super cool. Okay, is there a magic trick that you were still trying to figure out how the magician did it? Well, not so much with cards. I mean, I actually very intentionally don't know how, like, stage magic works. Like, I intentionally don't know how big stage illusions work. I don't want to look it up. I don't want to know. Because it allows me to still experience magic the way a layman would, where they don't have this whole toolbox of ideas in their heads and methods. I get to just watch it through the lens of common sense. So that is very helpful. And I would certainly recommend that people keep themselves kind of ignorant of some branch of magic. And then for cards, hard to say. I mean, there are certain tricks that I've seen on video where I don't quite know how it's done, but also there's so much that can be hidden on video. I really only consider it a legitimate challenge to figure out if it's done if I can watch it live, because there's so much that can be obscured on video. Okay, yeah, Kim, I don't... Such a comment here, like literally every show. Can you make my wife disappear? And it's always in front of the wife. That's the weirdest thing. Like, I've never understood why people would ask the question, but they do time and time and time and again. Okay, what else? How long does it take for someone to dead cut half for half? Look at the cards and try to look at try to work on splitting the deck exactly in half. You're not learning what 26 looks like. You're learning what half looks like. Hero, did I start this at 25k subs? No, I hit 25k a few weeks ago. Yeah, I did not. This was not like something that I gained 4k subs from. No. Okay, where were we at? What was it? Hopefully that satisfies your question, Nathan. I'm so stupid. I'm never doing that again. Alrighty, and then let's see, exploring how to cope with stage fright. Preparation and confidence. Just keep working on your material till it's scripted and you're very confident in the moves and you know that you can handle any situation. And then you just perform a lot and stage fright will start to diminish with time. Dan, tips on the second deal. It's really too complicated a topic for me to really get into in a stream. I don't think I could do it justice. I don't think I could do it justice here. Chester, yeah, good question. Yes, in like every billion forms. John Chase, no, I'm not a purist in that sense, but I do try to, I just make sure if I'm going to use any of those special things that that I'm able to get them into play and out of play without anyone noticing. That's really important because I always give the cards away after my performances. Oh, Hero, super chats. Is that where like you like donate? So that's the thing. I didn't have monetization on for this stream, so I don't know if you can. I didn't really, let me see if I can turn it on. Oh, maybe I can turn it on. All right. So I'm just gonna. I hope people don't mind. I'm gonna do this because I've never done this before. So I just turned monetization on the screen. If you want me to turn it off, I will. I just want to test this feature out. So I really just want to kind of see what this feature is like. So I just turned on monetization. Again, if it bugs you, just put it in the chat and be like, turn that off. I have no idea what even happens when you turn on monetization, but I don't really know how that works. So let's see. What inspires you to get into Magic? Saw a card trick and loved it. That was really it. I don't even know who Alex... I don't know the name Alex Boyer. Favorite non-gambling card trick aside from the one you did on Penn and Teller? Good question. I'll have to think about that. It's a good question. How do I balance school and career with Magic? Well, again, it's alternation. When you're really busy with school or something else, you don't do much Magic. When you're not so busy with school, you do a lot of Magic. But you just keep it up consistently so that you are consistently working on your Magic stuff. So even on the really busy days, pick up the cards for 2 minutes. It's just a matter of keeping it consistently. Yeah, Kim, it's interesting. So a number of the people here are magicians. I think broadly speaking, my audience is mostly non-magicians. But I think the people who would turn into a stream are more magicians. Also, Kim, I think you remember saying your audience is primarily Korean. Only 35% of my audience is in the U.S., which is strange. 65% is international. So, yeah. All right, let's see. For Justin Mathis talking about, illusion magic. Well, for stage magic, there are a lot of stage magicians. I mean, we've all seen stage magicians who have fancy props but aren't good. So clearly there's some skill to it. I mean, yeah, there's probably more of a financial investment involved. But, yeah. Yeah, I don't know how super chats work. Let me look that up. I just want to find out how this works. I mean, again, I don't need this to be monetized. I just want this to be for fun right now. Oh yeah, John Chase, 10-year plan-wise, I'd love to have like my own running parlor show someday, the same way, Dennis Watkins or Dan White or Steve Cohen with Chamber Magic at a super fancy hotel. I would love to have one of those. David Kwong is that another great one. YouTube stream, turn on super chat. Okay. How do you do this? Support.google.com. Okay. Yeah, I don't even know how to turn that on. I think I would have to work on this. I don't think I'd have to work on the super chatting and figure out how that works. But I think for my next stream, maybe I'll have that on, just if people want to. Okay. Yeah, I think the monetization allows me to play an ad. Okay, so I'm gonna play an ad right now. I'm not doing this because I want to make money off the stream, but I just want you to tell me if this works, just so that I understand the features of streams. So give me a second. I'm gonna play an ad for everyone, and then, but yeah, I'll just do this once. So here we go. I don't know if that'll make an ad happen. Hopefully an ad is playing, and I just want to test this out and see if it works. Did an ad play? Did that work? Did something happen with an ad? I don't know. Please don't leave. Yeah. And let's see. All right. There's no ad playing. Weird. Okay. Well, I hit insert ad, but I guess it didn't work. Nope. Huh. Weird. Said ad inserted. Yeah, I don't know how this works. Well, I'll figure it out some other time. All right, Shrey, thanks for the email. Now everyone is spamming no ad. Woohoo! Cool. Justin Mathis, family's very supportive. They really are. They've been very supportive so far. All right, let's see if I can find an article about this. Here we go. Sorry, this will just take a second. All right. Module. You'll learn how super chat and super stickers work. Okay. Alrighty. Yeah, I think you're right, Tigger, that it probably has to be set up before the stream. You're very right. So I think maybe on the next stream that I do, maybe in a few weeks or something, I'll do. Oh, Dan, thanks so much for letting me know. Now I understand it. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know much about the monetizing. Oh, thanks so much, Hero. That's very nice of you. Maybe maybe next time I'll turn on super chats. Why not? Can't hurt. So let's see. What else? Do I want to become a doctor? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe. Hard to say. Right now, I really want to give magic a shot and see where it goes. And then let me see. Yeah, Kim, it's been interesting, just in terms of having a more international audience. Not something I expected at all. Donald, I previously studied neuroscience. I graduated last year. Wes, have I ever had someone get mad at me in a performance? Mad at me. Well, not in an actual really angry at me way. I mean, in a kind of playful way, sure. Scriptic, favorite magician. Darwin Ortiz, Ricky J, Darren Brown, and also this guy named Swelgi, Wisdom Kim. who's in the chat right now, and you should totally go check out his channel. He makes awesome videos about sleight of hand and gambling. So go just look up like Wisdom Kim Magic on YouTube or something, and you'll find him. He's great. All his videos are in Korean, so good luck understanding them, but the content's great. Can I speak another language? I took Spanish in high school and studied in college. Scriptic, it's Wisdom Kim. He's been in chat a few times with his with a kind of a gray box. I'll just like copy his name and put it in chat. So just do that, copy that in, and search it on YouTube, and you'll find it. Ah, yes, he just commented. Good. Oh, I love David Blaine-Vischer. It's a very different style of magic. That's all. Let's see. Yeah, I can even put Kim's YouTube link in. Just give me a second. Here we go. Don't worry, Kim. I'll promote you. Here we go. Wisdom. Here we go. Everyone go there. Okay. That's Kim's channel that I just put in. Is magic real? Not in a literal sense. Maybe in a figurative sense, though. And let's see. Oh, yeah, you're right. His first videos are subtitled. The later ones, less so. But it's fun to try to figure out what the hell's happening in his videos when I don't understand the language. All right, bye, Scriptic. Good luck practicing. Enjoy. Let's see. What camera am I using? A Sony a7 III connected to an Atomos Ninja 5 monitor. What is your go-to false cut? This one. Yeah. That's what I'd say my go-to is. It's out of, what do you call it? Let's do that again to get a better one. Here we go. That one. Out of, Annotated Ordinance by Darwin Ortiz. Wes is an avid jazz pianist and find that your wrists hurt. Yeah, sometimes my hands get sore. So, I don't know, take a rest. I've been thinking maybe I should like put my hands in ice water or something to relax. Ultimate magic goal, have my own parlor show. Love that. You know, fancy show in a hotel like Chamber Magic or Dan White's show or Dennis Watkins' show in Chicago. Something like that. That's my ultimate goal. What is your go-to in mentalism? I love Max Maven's Desire. Probably my favorite mentalism routine. Let's see. Do I use plants in the crowd? No, never. There's so many better ways of doing magic. And very few magicians ever actually use that. Very few. Have I ever dealt at a casino? No. They wouldn't let me, given the amount of stuff that I have online that demonstrates my skills. They just wouldn't let me. Any easy trick to do in a party? I have posted a easy magic trick tutorial on my channel. You should watch it. That's a great easy trick to do. And let's see what else. Thanks, Trey. Glad you like the work. Am I exclusively card magician? Well, I do some mentalism as well. What is your go-to in propless mentalism? I don't love the framework of thinking about mentalism as propless or with props. I mean, I don't think it necessarily matters whether it involves props or not. What matters is how good and impressive and convincing the effect is. And if that means you need some paper and a pen to write with, great. And if that means you don't, then that's also great. So I just don't love the analytical angle of we should classify things based on whether or not they involve props. I don't think that's necessarily the best criteria. Okay, what does the setup look like from what we can see? Okay, so I'm looking at a Sony a7, a7 III, and a monitor up there. I do have a B camera here that I use for an A6400 that I use for filming. I've got a 16 to 35 millimeter G Master lens on that camera. I also have a Sennheiser boom mic just up here, and that's connected to a Zoom H4n, which is acting as my audio interface. And then I've got a Mac Mini connected to a monitor that's running the stream. So that's the setup. I have all the information about my setup in the descriptions of my videos, and I've got affiliate links, which you can use if you want to buy anything to help support the channel. Sledge, look at my Magic Castle video. That will tell you the answer to your question. Josh, what's the current trick you're learning? I don't know if there's necessarily a trick I'm learning right now. There are a few techniques I'm messing with, but no really new trick that I'm working right now. Squidda, how's your day? It's going well. How's yours? Wes, do I enjoy performing Equifolk? I think there are a few good ways of using it, but you don't want to overdo it. You really don't want to overdo it. Beat Saber Boy, can I do a real shuffle? In fact, I can actually shuffle a deck of cards. I can legitimately shuffle cards, and they do get mixed. Sometimes. It's rare that I ever do that. Thoughts on Richard Turner? He's amazing. I cannot fathom how he's done what he's done, given that he can't see. He's incredible. Is it not a good idea to memorize a deck routine written down in order on paper as a setup, since I can't memorize a deck on command? Max, I don't quite understand what you mean by that question. I think you'll need to phrase it differently. Salty asks, can you show us 3-card Monty? I've got a video coming out very soon about 3-card Monty. Is asking, but when you don't have props, what is your go-to propless mentalism? Okay, I understand what you're asking. Well, good question. I used to do some muscle reading, some legitimate muscle reading. That's kind of fun, but I don't do much of that anymore. Generally, I don't, perform a lot of magic when I'm just out and about during my day. I don't offer to perform magic for people. I mostly, if they ask me to perform something, I'll do something for them. And so there's usually something around. Oh, talking about a cheat sheet if you need to stack a deck for a routine? Absolutely, yeah. You don't need to memorize the order of every stacked deck you ever use for tricks. Just, yeah, that absolutely do that. Thanks for Kim, ironically, thank you for translating English to English for me. That was wonderful. No, Kim's fantastic. His channel's way better than mine. You should, if you have to choose between one of us, don't unsubscribe for me, but maybe do. Don't. I need the subscribers, please. Please don't leave me. Let's see. Writing a random card order on paper to memorize. Max, for what you're asking, read Juan Tamara's book, Mnemonica. That will answer your question. Yeah, Mnemonica. All right. Josh White asked, in your opinion, what's the hardest thing for a magician to master? Is it continuous? Is it the continuous scripts? Depends if we're talking about, cognitively or technically. Technical stuff, probably like riffle stacking and a center deal. Performance-wise, how to be truly present in the moment and interact with your audience, and how to write compelling scripts that don't sound like scripts. Those are the hardest things performance-wise, I think. Any tips on approaching strangers to perform for? No, I don't do that. Lou, Kim Hoy, they're just different situations. Not really one. You need to do them both. But yeah, Wes, I don't really do street magic. Some people do, and it's great. That's just never been my thing, so I don't really have any advice on that because it's not something I've ever done. I like performing in a formal theater environment, or if I'm specifically asked to by someone who I'm talking to, and everyone in the setting who's part of that conversation actually wants me to perform. Only then will I actually perform anything. I don't want to force people to watch magic. Greetings from Mongolia. Why, hello. Thanks. Any books that outline stories like Sam the Bellhop? Ooh, I don't know. I think Eric Mead has some work on that plot. Michael Amar on one of his DVDs, I think the very first one, has some work on that plot. And do I live in the UK? No, I live in the United States. Have you ever used your glasses in a magic trick? Yes, I have. Maybe I'll talk about that at some point, but yes. How do you get to perform at the Magic Castle? Let's see. I sent in audition footage. That's what I did. Sent in audition footage and they liked it. Do parents pay you to be in their kid's birthday party? Hero, I don't really do kids' birthday parties much. I do virtual shows for, last week I did a show for, YouTube, for a team at YouTube. I did a show for a team at Microsoft. I did a show for a team at a law firm. I've gotten to perform for Google, Bank of New York Mellon. I've been doing virtual shows. Yes, Kim, the glasses trick. I'll keep that hush-hush for now, but maybe someday I'll put it out there because it's pretty funny. So corporate work is really the audience I kind of target. Am I going to go back on Fool Us? I would love to at some point. I'm working on some other material that I think may fool them. We'll have to give it a shot, see what happens. Someone says, greetings from Portugal. Hello. Biggest inspiration. Just seeing people really pushing the envelope. And doing new and creative things. I find my friend David Kwong does really incredible kind of puzzle-infused magic. That's very inspiring. People like Derek Delgadio, the late Ricky Jay, the people who really find the interface between two fields and combine them together in new and creative ways. I love that. Okay, let's see. Max, I've never stayed in a stream this long before. Actually tell when they are broken, and yes, knew when I had them today. Yes, okay, so you've worn your cards out watching the screen. Watching the stream. That's what you mean. Very cool. Do you have any tricks to stay motivated when practicing? It's the little incremental progress things that when you see them, you'll stay more. They'll help motivate you. Man, I'm almost 3.5 hours in. I can't speak anymore. This is hilarious. And I've still not answered a single question from the Q&A that was posted. Whoops. Let's see. Tigger didn't even know when you subscribed to my channel. That's pretty funny. Let's see. What made me start a YouTube channel? Just seeing other channels that I really liked. There's a channel, mainly actually non-magic channels that I really liked. That's what got me to wanting that. Can I manipulate a deck that has been shuffled by someone else? Yes, but you have to use some slightly different techniques. BC Razor, if you were allowed only 3 books to relearn, card magic, what would it be? Ooh. Okay, well, let's say I get 3 books on technique and 3 books on theory. How about that? 3 books on technique and 3 books on theory. Books on technique. Card College Volume 1, Card College Volume 2, and maybe Darwin Ortiz's Card Shark. I'd probably take those. 3 books on theory. Strong Magic, Designing Miracles, and probably The Magic Way by Juan Tamariz. Hero K, you heard that getting the first 1K subs is the hardest part. Well, hard to say because I've had my channel since 2015, but I never put any effort into it. I just used it as a repository for performance footage. And so I never really was posting consistently. Kim, you haven't read Card College? Traitor. You gotta read that. Kim, you learned from the more classics, right? Royal Road, etc. I assume so. I've probably read the Card College series like 8 times over or something. Yeah, Hero, I don't really know because it just sort of gradually happened with time. It was when I started making videos consistently and then the 10 levels video took off all of a sudden. That's when I started gaining subscribers. I went from like 2K to almost 30K in like a month and a half. Kim, where did you even learn stuff from? What was your first book that you read? Did you just read Darwin's books initially or something? Yeah, Card College Volume... Don't listen to Kim. Just get Card College Volume 1. That's the answer. Card College Volume 1. That's what you gotta do. Okay, I'm not much of a movie buff. So, yeah. Sean, in other words, you can't, like... I think you can probably get it on Amazon if you can get it shipped there, or eBay. Like, they'll be able to ship it there. Favorite movie? Zach, I'm not much of a movie person, so I don't necessarily know if I have one. Rabbit, hi from Bosnia. Wow. That's so funny. So, Kim, you've read all of his other stuff, just not Card College. Huh. Gopesh, How to Get Started in Mentalism. I'd take a look at stuff by Luc Germain, read 13 Steps to Mentalism, Banachek's Psychological Subtleties series. Those are my recommendations. Magic and Showmanship is great. Strong Magic and Designing Miracles are just a little more updated. But yeah, I guess those would be my list. So if I was only allowed 3 books on technique and 3 books on theory, I'd say Card College Volumes 1 and 2, and maybe Card Shark by Darwin Ortiz. And then if I was only allowed 3 books on theory, Strong Magic, Designing Miracles, and Juan Tamariz's The Magic Way. Yeah. Oh, it's interesting. Kim, I don't think I've actually read Ask Roberto. Maybe? I don't even remember. Jose, your mom doesn't believe that you can take magic seriously. Well, I don't necessarily know where you're at with magic, but I would say, continue practicing if you really love it and see where you get with it and see if you can do things to demonstrate that it's worth a shot. Recruit 101, good day. Yep, good day to you. Leon, what should I do after learning the basics of card control? You should sign up to my online course when I make it in 2 months. No, I'm just kidding. Card College Volume 1, Volume 2, and then Volume 3, Volume 4, and Volume 5. It's a great series. It will take you from beginner to expert. I really think it's incredible. That's what I'd recommend. Number 1 tip to a new magician. Practice really slowly using a mirror or video camera, and also listen to your audiences. They will really tell you. Maximum Entertainment. That's also great. Absolutely. Joining an online magic competition. Well, good luck, Kim. Or Lou Kim, I should say. Not different Kim. I use magic as a topic for an informative speech and tried to model it after the 10 levels video. Oh, glad to hear. Hope that worked out well. Let's see. Max, Card College Volume 2, maybe on Amazon. Might be able to find it there. Or on Vanishing Ink. Magic. Vanishing Ink also sells Card College. Let's see. What is the... Will you create magic like Sam the Bellhop? I actually have a video on that, Souk Erdine. Look at my video called I Have 4 Parents. Very different story, but true. That's actually based on that. Okay, if I was going to perform on a huge scale, how would you change your routine? Well, Salty, I mean, it's similar to performing on Penn and Teller Fool Us. I mean, you just do a sleight of hand card routine, but for a lot, with cameras on your hands. Zach, what do my friends think of card magic? Some of them like it. Most of them like it. JH. Hey there, Ed. Good to see you. Finally tuned in. Ed, I will edit your thing tonight. I promise I'll edit it tonight. I'm sorry I've been so lazy about that. Well, actually, I've been really busy, but I'll get to it tonight. Let's see. All right, good night, Leon. And what is my least favorite trend in Magic? Ooh. Hard to say. I don't really know if I have a least favorite trend. Because I do think that even the trends that are often criticized, like visual magic on the internet, I think they have their place. So I don't know if I really have a least favorite trend. False promises. Yeah, obviously. Beat Saber, do I get fooled often? Very rarely with a deck of cards. Very frequently with stage magic, because I intentionally have no idea how stage magic works and I don't read anything about it. I like to experience it as if I'm a layman. But yeah, Wes, I also dislike Stooges. Oh, no cookie for me, Ed? Sad. Kim, I don't speak French, so I don't know what that means. When did I start learning magic? About 15 years ago, Shrey. In Penn and Teller, Souk, my lips are sealed. Can't answer that. But good questions, good thinking. Hey, how's it going, Josh? What's up? And, alright, let me see. Where else? Alright, I figure I'll continue the stream for, maybe another little bit, and then, I'm getting pretty hungry. So, one more time. Let me see. Oh, Josh. Yes, I streamed on Twitch like a year ago. Yeah. And then I realized that I needed to focus on other things, like, making YouTube videos and virtual performances and whatnot. And here we are. But now I have more people watching. That's cool. Lou Kim, I do not have my own designed deck. I may make one someday. I've got some ideas for that. Yes, Kim, Kim and Ed, we are indeed, we're the henchmen, but also the Three Musketeers. Okay, but yeah, Josh, thanks for coming back in. My parents are very supportive, Ian. When was the last time I fooled someone, or someone fooled me with cards? I don't know, it's been a long time. Came for the trick, can you show me one? Maybe I'll perform something. Aiden Choi, good thing we're not there in person, otherwise that would be deadly. Noob Phoenix, am I going to upload the stream? I will either leave the whole video up, or potentially I will clip it up and I will, just post like some little bits, of it. A Hippo Shark asks, how's life? Good. How's life? Jack Wong, yes, I really like what Shinlim does. I think he's done some really, really creative things with the combination of music and magic, so I'm a big fan. All right, John, glad you enjoyed the stream. Thanks so much. What will be your next video? I don't know. You'll find out later tonight when I post it. Let's see. What else? Will you let this live stream be available on YouTube? Yes, I will. In some format. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, you're right, Josh. Twitch, you basically can't grow. YouTube, you're discoverable. So that's why I started doing this here. Good question, Ed. But why is life? Would you like to meet Richard Turner? Absolutely. I'd love to meet him. Haven't met him before, though. Thank you so much, Wes. Glad you liked it. Shrey, I have no idea. I haven't been a professional for long enough. Oh, hey, Richard. Good to see you. This is your just so you know I was here. Thanks for making your presence known. That's the true level of contribution that I would expect from a Wharton student. KZ, do I sand down my cards so they have a specific feel? No, I just use them right out of the box. Any advice for a fellow magician? Practice really slowly using a mirror or a video camera, and listen to your audiences as opposed to other magicians, and watch recordings of your performances to make changes so that you can learn to be really present in the moment. That's what I'd say. Do I have a tip for creating a new magic trick? Read Steal Like an Artist by Austin Kleon. It's not a book about magic, but it's really, really, really well written for learning how to be creative. All right, see you, Richard. Okay. Yes, please sign up for my lessons. Please do. Please. Ugh. Thank you for helping promote myself. Promote me, Ed. I just hate promoting myself. Yuck. Okay, let's see. Jack Wong, is magician your main career? For now, yeah. We'll see where it goes. I guess I'll be able to answer that question better in 5 years. Jay Pesco, yes, I've been to Canada a few times before. Have loved the time I've gotten to spend there. I skied at Whistler Blackcomb a few years ago. That was really fun. Okay. And let's see. Shrey, currently, magic. Let's see. How often do you go through cards during practice? For me, sometimes every few hours I'll open a new deck of cards. But when you're just starting out, open a deck of cards every week or something like that. Did I ever fail performing in front of a live audience? Yes, I've messed up and it's really funny. Hello, fellow Daniel. Okay, Beat Saber, I will assume your name is also Daniel. Hello. Whirly Freak. Let's see. With Penn being a card trick guy and Teller being the sleight-of-hand expert, do you have any guesses to what part of your set fooled which one of them? Oh, yeah, Teller told me exactly which parts fooled each of them. They told me exactly what fooled them each. Richard, yes, I lived with Richard. Oh, wow, he thinks you're lucky. I thought he was just going to say, run for your lives. Can I try to say your name? If I'm going to pronounce it phonetically, it looks like Asish Karuturi. Karuturi, yeah. Asish Karuturi. That's as close as I'm going to get. I wonder how far off I am. Opinion on cardistry. It's really cool. I just don't do any of it. Someone says, hi, Daniel. Fan from China. Well, thanks. What do I do with dead decks? I put them aside, and then I use them for tricks where I need to tear up cards or beat them up. Ed says, Daniel doesn't fail in front of a live audience. The audience fails in front of Daniel. Of course. Whirly Freak, this is awesome. Thanks, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Glad you liked it. How to deal the middle card. A lot of practice. Jay Pesco, I'm really hungry. That's the answer. Be sure, I love your style and your channel. Thanks so much. Glad you've enjoyed. Do I watch any anime? I used to a little bit when I was younger, but not so much. I've never really been into it. Let's see. Will I ever go on Penn and Teller's show again? I'd love to, and I'm working on some new material that they might that maybe will fool them. Do I like Chris Ramsey style magic? Absolutely. I think he's done really cool things with the channel, and that was one of the inspirations for me to start my channel. Vernon or Marlowe? Vernon. Start a war there. Lou Kim Hoi says, hello from Malaysia. Hello. Thanks for... glad to have so many people from all over the place. How are you not thirsty with all the talking? Well, about an hour ago, I drank a bunch of water, so that was how I got over it. Let's see. Oh, cool. Many Malaysians. Awesome. Yeah, I've just been really surprised by having such an international audience. Okay, and yeah, Max. People work on different things at different points in time. Yeah. Lou Kim, maybe in an online course that I'm working on. I'll work on the move there. Or I'll teach the move there. But I wouldn't be able to go into... Yeah, accuracy is tough. Play with the bevel of the cards. Play with the bevel of the deck into your hand. That's the tip I can give you for now. Now everyone's just like, is anyone here from here? Is anyone here from my place? How about my place? How about my place? Yeah. All right. Well, I think I'm going to end the stream in just a minute. I've been going for over 3.5 hours now. I'm getting pretty tired and pretty hungry, so I'm probably going to sign off. So I guess my question is, would you be interested in me doing more streams? I mean, I got a lot of interesting questions. I think these were cool discussions. Maybe I do another stream in a week or 2 or 3 weeks from now. I could do something like that. If people are interested, yeah, I'll leave some of the stream up maybe. Aaron, is Erdnace's book really necessary? It's important to understand some of the historical context and where these moves came from, and it is also great because there are kind of hidden gems that are in between the lines, and so that's what I would recommend. Cool. Okay, well, glad people like the streams. I'm surprised that people liked it. Great. Ote, Stuff on Breathers, Jason England's Dead Cut on Foundations, Volume 2, maybe? 1, 2. Also, some of the Vernon's Inner Secrets card trilogy. It's in there as well. Oh, well, thank you, Hero. Yeah, I'll turn on Super Chats next time. Do you ever meet people who know how your tricks work? Yeah, sometimes, primarily other magicians. And Ed hates it, of course. Yeah, we like it so much you should clearly make it to the 4 hour. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to make it to the 4 hour mark, but 3.5 is pretty good. Great, Jesse, thanks so much. Glad you enjoyed the stream. Kim, what are you doing? Everyone's going to hate you for this. Everyone's going to hate you for this. That's insane. I should make tutorials on baking. But yeah, probably not. But yeah, Zach, sometimes I do meet people who know how I do my tricks. Absolutely. Thanks so much, Jesse. All right, well, let me see. Anything else I want to demo? It might be fun. I'm working on a new video. Last question. Can you do a regular second bottom Greek and center deal consecutively followed by the other one? Yes. I haven't done this for a while, but I'm going to give it a try. Okay, so just for context for people here, a second deal is where you deal the second card from the top. So the ace of spades is on top, and a second deal is where I don't deal the ace. Instead, I deal the second card. A bottom deal is where the ace is on the bottom, and instead of dealing the top card, I deal the bottom card instead. That's a bottom deal. A Greek deal is where instead of it being on the bottom, it's second from the bottom. And so then I deal the second from bottom card. And then lastly, a center deal is where the card goes into the middle of the deck like this. And that way, instead of dealing the top card, you deal the tops, and then eventually you deal the center card to yourself. So these are the 4 types of false deals. And the reason someone's asking me to do them in a consecutive fashion is because they require slightly different grips. You have to hold the cards in different ways to be able to do them. The challenge is making sure is getting to hold all the cards in the same way so that you can do them. And that's a challenge. So I haven't done this in a while, and I don't quite remember the positions of the aces for this. You'll have to give me a moment to think. So I think you do... Yeah, okay. So I think it's you deal 4 a card, 4 a card. Yeah, okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's what we do. We need 17 cards. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 cards. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 17. Okay. So one ace is going to go 17th from the top. Another ace is going to go on the bottom. That will be the bottom deal. Another one is going to go 3rd from the bottom. So after I do the bottom deal, the one that's 3rd from the bottom will essentially be the Greek deal. And then the last one is going to go somewhere towards the center. So I'm going to start with a center deal, and then I'll do a bottom deal, a Greek deal, and a second deal for the last one. I haven't done this in probably a year, so we're going to give it a shot. So once again, just so people have proof, they really are in different spots. Upper, kind of lower center, 3rd from the bottom, and on the bottom. So watch me miss and make a fool of myself. Okay, here goes. So the first one is the center deal, followed by a bottom deal, followed by a Greek deal, followed by a second deal. So there you go. Center, bottom, Greek, second consecutively. All right, satisfied? Hopefully that looked decent. So there's my shameless flex. All right, good. Now I'm seeing the chat come in. Glad people liked it. All right, well, this was super fun. I'm really glad that people enjoyed, and hope this was fun. Yeah, and I think maybe I'll start doing like one stream a month, something along those lines, just because I think that could be really fun. And let's see, Yanis, I may teach it in an online course. Yes, Quan, I know. Perks of having 4 parents, more presents on holidays. Great. All right, well, hey, again, thanks so much, everyone. I really hope this was fun. In future streams, I may try to up the production quality a little bit, have some overlays, things like that, do some super chats, maybe have some quiet, Stream Beats music in the background, add a little bit more ambiance and vibe to it. So I'm going to play with that, and of course, you can always let me know if you like what I'm adding to the streams. I think that should be fun. Oh, Elazar, real question is, can you deal all 4 aces one after the other with a second center Greek bottom? So you're saying no cards in between. Let me think about that. This is going to be a distinct maybe. All right. Ace is a second from the top, ace in the middle, ace on the bottom, ace third from the bottom. And they have to be consecutive. Okay, so here goes. Probably not, but we're going to get it. Here we go. So 1, 2, nope, going to miss the Greek. Let's try that again. 3, 4. There we go. That was terrible, but because I missed the first Greek. I can try that again. These aren't going to look good. These are going to be crappy false deals. I mean, they're just going to look bad. Yeah, let's try it one more time, just for kicks. Oh, you know what? Well, yeah, that's one way of doing it. Green Mats, Patrick Przaski, Patrick's Mats, Patrick online. This is green plush. You can also get green spectral fabric. That's what I like the most. Okay. Let me think about this for a second. Yeah. All right. Here goes. So here, I'll try it this way. Second from the top, center, third from the bottom, bottom. This is going to be interesting. Oh, actually, hold on. Start here, and then get here. All right. This is going to be hilarious. So here we go. Starting with the center, bottom. Nope, missed the Greek again. Tragic. Let's try that again. Where did that card go? Oh, I didn't do a center deal. I did the Greek deal first. Whoops. And center second. Yay! All right. Well, I suck at that. That was hilarious. Let's pretend that never happened. Okay. Oh, here's what I'll finish up with. I'll do a quick riffle stack and let's see if I don't miss. Daniel's real personality reveal at 3 million subs. Thanks, Ed. Yeah, you'll find out who I really am. All right. Am I going to hit it? Yay! All right, there we go. Nailed the riffle stack. All right, that was it. Max, how much harder is a Greek than a bottom? Not that much harder. Sometimes a little easier, actually. Cool. All right, well, hey, it's been really fun. I hope everyone enjoyed the stream. When I do this in the future, I'll have some music, some overlays, I'll put some, do some more OBS stuff, and make things a little bit more interesting in some way, and hopefully it should be more fun. But yeah, think I may do the next one in like 2 weeks, but then think, every month or so after that. I figured that could be fun. And yeah, I can hopefully try to think of some, fun, interesting ideas for streams, I also could stream myself, learning a new trick. Like I could just have a book out and just start reading a trick and start working on it and learn it on stream if people want to see what that process looks like. I could also stream myself doing some script writing if people are interested in that. Again, I know most people here aren't magicians, but again, this is just about kind of like seeing some of the process and getting to hang out. I think that could be really fun. So if you're into that kind of thing, let me know, and I'll give it a try, and we'll see what happens. Thanks, Ed. All right, well, take care, everyone. Have a good night.